My service automated, like data running through my veins. Got you distracted, subconscious overloaded. Careful, don't pull the cord on me. No time to stay around. Keep walking till you get out of my face. Regrets, restricted access. I'm just a flight to get up in ya. We love discharging. I can't waste my time with someone slowing me down, 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 down. So high, I'm floating. I'm shining in my prime. Start rolling over 'cause you can't take my crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. My crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. Rewind my circuits, but you don't get that courage, 'cause you can handle my game. No, my drive's a puzzle. I got you so bumfuzzled, 'cause you can fall into my pain. No time to stay around. Keep walking till you get out of my face. Regrets, restricted access. I'm just a flight to get up in ya. We love discharging. I can't waste my time with someone slowing me down, 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 down. So high, I'm floating. I'm shining in my prime. Start rolling over 'cause you can't take my crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. My crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. I won't waste my love on your heart. Sorry, 'cause I can't get what I want, and I don't need ya. We love discharging. I can't waste my time with someone slowing me down, 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 down. So high, I'm floating. I'm shining in my prime. Start rolling over 'cause you can't take my crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. My crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown.
Hello.
Well, hello.
Hello.
So, first of
Wow,
all,
Mel.
hello to Zeke and Water, and who else did I see? I think I saw Ice Dragon in
Yeah.
here earlier.
A lot of you
And,
fuckers were here early, and like I apologize for
Haters
not
here.
starting on time. That was Discord's fault.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate the enthusiasm.
So,
I like the shirt.
But it was also probably the false advertising of live now soonish.
yeah.
Well-
we tried though. We were here at least. We were at least here on time. We were on the call on time.
Honestly, we're just gonna have to tweet at Discord again, because like they couldn't
Oh,
add
yeah.
the feature I wanted, but they could do this
Right, how does
bullshit.
that look? Oh, well,
The
Now
You know, it
it's
looks
now it's like
pretty
a T pose, and I'm like, why? Why wouldn't you just keep it like 2x2? I don't understand.
So yeah, guys, Discord updated, and someone sat down and purposely made the layout like this.
Yeah, they
and
had
but
that
did not
explicit
add the
intent.
feature where we could change the layout. So I just wanted to tell you all that. So most importantly today, we have a very special guest. Contrary to popular belief, he is not my dad or Trev's dad.
I mean, I can be.
But he is an excellent streamer, a really great guy, and a big part of our team here. At
Yeah, a lot
True
of the
Variety.
community is too.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah,
just
very-
because he's not my dad or Rory's dad does not mean he's not a dad. He is a dad.
yeah.
Very true. Proven twice.
Oh,
Hey, Mark, how are you? It's good to see you.
I love this, the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 quote.
I know
That's what I
that
thought
movie.
too. Something. Mary Poppins, y'all.
You're our
So-
Yondu. You're our Yondu.
Yeah,
Yes, that's the name.
yeah. It's not bad actually. Hey, so Andrew, welcome to the podcast. This is your first appearance.
Yes, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on.
You finally had the time to do it, and we were like, fuck it, we gotta take this opportunity as it presented itself.
I mean, technically, I didn't have the time, but I'm making time. It's working.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Corrupt. Oh, well, but at least me and Morgan have been having a really good day today, actually. Mostly relaxing, bit of marking assignments. That's been exciting. How are you guys today? How has everybody's day been? I meant the
Andrew.
podcast, not the chat. I mean, I also care about
Andrew,
the
Andrew is our guest. As our guest, you can go first.
Okay, so my day, let's see. I woke up at the crack of 8, came down and punched in because I'm working from home.
Mhm.
I spent a fair amount of the day with the kids, actually, and kind of helping them out, so didn't get a ton of work done, but it was a productive day.
Mm.
There's not much else to say on days where I'm just working from home, because it's fun working from home, but also it's kind of boring because nothing really goes on.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
like, how has that been, like, adjusting to, like, everything with COVID and working from home, having kids?
Yeah, it's okay. So it's rough. I'm just gonna say that, because the wife's working from home, I'm working from home. Our 7-year-old is learning from home, and then the 7-month-old. I mean, she's a baby. She's gonna do what babies do. Hi, Kai. So yeah, it's rough because there's all of that going on, and it all has to happen between 8 and 5. So even with that, I'd say I'm more productive because I don't have random people coming to talk to me in my cubicle at work.
Yeah. That's actually what I've heard. Actually, my cousin's a software engineer, and he works in a sort of open concept office. And he says even though it's supposed to be better for collaboration, all it means is that people come up to interrupt him all day or distract him from.
Exactly.
Supposed to be getting fed into.
I imagine the interruptions from other people are now replaced with interruptions from your kids instead. So I feel like it's the same.
So they're more welcome interruptions, even though sometimes they're not completely welcome. They're definitely more welcome.
Yeah.
It is nice being able to just cook something for lunch, though. Being able to take the full hour and make something at home instead of heating something up in the microwave at work. Or I can drive home from work and I still have 30 minutes where I can do something, but that's enough to do basically a microwave meal.
Right. Yeah.
And then as far as everything else that I'm doing, because I'm working, 2 jobs and have a contract job on the side, everything else with that really hasn't changed. That's still exactly the same. I'll go to work 3 nights unloading trucks for a shipping company, and then all my spare time is filled with garage designing.
I remember the last couple times you were on, which was not this previous time, but the time before that, which was some time ago. You said you'd been doing a project for a friend on the garage, or whatever. Did you get that done, or is that one
No, that's still ongoing. That's the one that's still going, and it's because everything else is so busy. I haven't been able to get enough time in on it to finish it yet.
Okay, when you say garage designing, do you mean building it, organizing it, like the layout? Like what exactly?
So they have an existing garage, and what they want to do is they want to take that front of the garage and pull it out 14 feet, so they can essentially have 2 cars parked front to back there. And then with that comes a few other changes they wanted. So it's drafting up the actual plans that they'll send off for a building permit.
Oh.
Sounds nice and boring, right?
Is that Ben? Yeah, that's Ben.
Yeah.
Is that
If he does start barking, we'll have to put him out. But he was scratching at the door, so
Yeah, he really wanted to get in.
But he just
Tater?
got shaved, so he's a bit scratchy and bitey right now.
Tater wants to know how many hours of sleep you average per day.
Okay, so if I just do my work and go to bed, I can get 6 or 7 hours of sleep. But if I game a little bit or watch something when I get home, maybe 5 is a good night.
Only 5 more hours of sleep.
Only 5 more hours, exactly. I'm glad you pulled that up.
That is a very retro,
Yes.
super inside joke reference. It's like-
I think nobody knew me at the time besides Andrew. in this
Trevor, were
call.
you in chat earlier today
Hey, Sai, how are you?
when somebody kept asking Ash for her PSN ID?
No.
And she kept saying
Oh,
it
she
was
kept saying
only 4
only
hours.
1.
Oh my god.
I was half expecting you to
That's
just
great.
pop up randomly with that one, Trev.
Yeah.
Usually you can summon Trev if you know what to say.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
just mention my name or something, and then I'll just be like,
So Andrew, one of the things, because we have a lot of guests who are streamers, and all our guests are in the Twitch community. So one of the things we generally ask, and I'm really curious about this too, because I've probably been talking to you in terms of like similar Twitch channels for about a year now, but you've been using Twitch for like quite a while. So I have literally no idea how your Twitch journey started. So would you be able to give me a bit of an introduction on how you like found the platform?
Honestly, I found it as a distraction while I was at work.
Okay.
As bad as that sounds. No, I was looking for something to do in the downtime on lunches because at the time, my office was far enough away where if I went home for lunch, I would have maybe 5 minutes and then turn around. So eating lunch, they give us an hour. It takes me like 10 minutes, and then I've got, 45, 50 minutes to do whatever. So just browsing the internet, I found it, and I think the first person I found was, he's not streaming anymore, but Duck Sauce, if you've heard that name.
I thought you were going to say Punji.
Duck sauce?
No, he was the second.
Oh, okay.
Duck Sauce, yeah. He did a morning coffee with whoever was there for an hour, and then he'd jump into H1Z1, I think, at the time.
Oh, okay.
But he had the dulcet tones that could just carry you away to another land, and it was very soothing to have that at lunch.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, what streamers you watch seems to be largely influenced not just by what game they're playing, but by what you're hoping to get out of Twitch. And if you're hoping to get out of Twitch something relaxing, then that's going to be what you're not going to watch some guy scream at Call of Duty for 4 hours.
Yeah, you're not going to be going watching XQC like pound on his desk.
Yeah. So funny story then. The next guy that I found actually was the scream at the games type, and that was Punji Stick. And I found him. I don't remember when it was. I think it was late spring or early summer, but it might even been fall. But I found him playing Rocket League and Battlefield in some downtime at work again. And through him, then I actually met Ash, and then I got into these different communities and all over the place, and now I'm everywhere.
Yeah, you really are everywhere.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the first time. Well, the first time I remember like heavily talking to you or like you being in the community of Ashes was when she was playing Uncharted 4.
What time frame was that? Because that might be right, but I think it was before then.
I think during Uncharted 4 is when she found out your real name, or like you doxed yourself and outed your real name. But
yeah,
you
right.
may have been
really?
right that like you've been there
Doxed
before,
yourself?
but
It was definitely before then because that was released May 10th, 2016, and I was there since February of 2016.
okay, yeah. So you've been.
So I don't remember what was being played at the time, but I do remember doxing myself in Ashes and being like, oh, whatever, it happens.
I think I was
Yeah,
gonna
go
say,
ahead.
I think my first impression of Ash's channel was actually primarily because of Andrew and Trevor, because y'all.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Because when I would drop in there, I would just see y'all go back and forth, like, you know,
Okay,
doing
yeah.
what you do.
That seems legitimate. That seems like it'll check
And
out.
and I was like, this aWALbanana sounds like a pretty solid dude, but I don't know about this Trev. But I just like that's like I don't even remember what the first game was that Ash was playing, but like what I remember was like you guys like just trading like jabs and like just going back and forth with each other.
So you could say not much has changed.
Yeah,
Since-
exactly. Not much has changed.
Not much has changed. But
The
That's the one
Andrew, when I found you, it was through TIFF, and I found out
Okay.
you were the first people I actually followed. I think you were the fourth person I followed on the platform.
Oh wow.
And when I stumbled into your stream, it was for me being on the island. It was later in the night. It was late for you, and it was later even for me. It was like 2:30 or 3 in the morning, and you were playing the first Devil May Cry, which is a beautiful game that everyone. needs
Oh
to
yeah,
play.
yeah.
And I distinctly remember you were like, "I think your name is Rory, if I remember right." And that alone, like, you really won me over with that. Because like that was before I was like ubiquitously known in this community by like my first name as opposed to my screen name. So I remember you have a good memory for names at least.
Online, yes. In real life, no. I forget names all the time. But
That's not my favorite.
Definitely.
It's a good
It's-
series. It's
It's
my
one of
favorites.
it's one of Trev's favorite series. Also, welcome, Megan. I actually wanted to ask you about that because I've seen you play basically everything since like you played Devil May Cry, and I sort of got an impression of like I was like, oh, this guy plays games from like when he was growing up, and then you played like Rocket League and Fortnite and Division, and I was like, oh, I have literally no idea what genre of game he likes.
yeah, I feel like I'm the epitome of a variety.
Yeah.
Because I will play literally anything that's out there.
What determines is there things you play like oh, this would make a good stream game, or is it literally just whatever you're in the mood to play and you're streaming and then that's what goes up?
It's usually whatever I'm in the mood for. I've got my Steam organized into things that I would stream and things that I won't stream, so that way at a glance I can be like, okay, I know these will at least hit a little bit well for a stream, but it all depends on what I'm feeling at the time.
He can
Sure,
actually
yeah.
be coerced by chat too, because the last stream he did,
Yep.
he was actually going to play Outer Worlds, and then I like jokingly said, "It's like I could rank you up in Master Rank," and he was like, "You know what? That's a good idea." And I was like, "Oh, all right, we're doing this."
Yep. I think my
what
channel
was-
points are set up to choose the game if you have enough.
Oh,
So
okay.
I can be easily swayed.
Oh, that's a really good idea, actually.
And I
So
didn't
what
use
was
channel
your-
points at the time, so I mean, I cheated the system, but sue
Yes,
me.
you did.
What was your journey then from like I don't think I know like from like Twitch viewer to streamer to moderator like
Yeah, like what made you want to start streaming? Is it because you saw
That's
Ash and
a
you're
good
like, damn, if
question.
she can do it, I can do it. Like, that's what mine was first. Was
No. Honestly, it was just I think it was from hanging out in Punji's for a couple months. I started thinking that even if I don't get big, even if I don't have 10 people show up, if I can just hang out with a couple people and just have some sort of dialogue while I'm enjoying myself, that's a good time and it's enjoyable. And that's all that it ever was for me is a way to enjoy myself and a way to be social with a non-social genre type game. Because I think the first ones I streamed were Skyrim or Ark or something that
yeah,
doesn't
I remember.
necessarily lend
I remember
itself.
Ark from back in the day.
Yeah. So that's all that it was is me wanting to be a little bit more social, which for me I'm an antisocial person, so that's a little weird already.
Mhm.
But then as far as being a moderator, I think Ash jokingly modded me after I posted a couple things on Twitter. And just like, yeah, since you're the Twitter guy and you defend me on Twitter or whatever it was, here, have a
Oh,
mod.
you were defending her honor.
He was out here white knighting, and then I was like, all right, cool.
Something like that.
Do you remember like specifically what it was, or just some kind of BS on Twitter?
It's always some BS on Twitter. I can't remember the exact.
That's like
topic.
half of Twitter.
That's
to be
pretty
fair.
much Twitter sometimes.
Yeah. If I wanted to, I could scroll back like 4,000 tweets and find it, but I don't think it's worth the time to search exactly what it
severely
was. It was
hurt
just
your
some
like
BS.
fingers by just going up constantly.
Oh, exactly.
That's how you get carpal tunnel.
Well, hopefully I'll never have that.
So, in a way, like, was the case ever for you, like, because obviously you started streaming before you got, like, super busy with everything, but was the case ever that you gamed so much that you were like, why not? And, like, was that ever a factor? Like, just like, oh, I'm playing anyway, I might as well just see if anyone wants to watch and hang out? Or was your mindset completely different?
That was kind of a factor of, you know, I'm doing this anyway, why don't I see if anyone wants to hang out? And that was part of being more social with it. But I don't think it was a point of, I'm doing this a lot, I want to involve people because I'm doing it a lot. So yes and no to what you're saying there, I guess.
Because I feel like between all of us, that's more or less like how most of us got started. Like, we game so much anyway that we might as well just stream it, and if people want to hang out, they hang out.
Yeah, no, when I was a kid, I gamed all the time, but for the past 7 years and 5 months, ever since the first kid was born, it's been
A steady decline.
it's been often, but not as often as I used to by any means. At the most, I think over the past 7 years, it's been maybe 10 hours a week, and that was if I was playing all the time after work.
Oof.
Hi, Squirrely.
Hi, Squirrely.
Can I ask a question about something you said earlier about your Steam library?
Of course.
Mine's also organized, actually. It's organized by genre. I'm curious, what to you makes a game, like you said, it's organized by stream games and not stream games. Like, what disqualifies a game from streaming, like, for you and your own stream?
I think what qualifies it for me is it's something that I can enjoy playing for more than 2 hours.
Okay,
and
sure.
that's if I can't enjoy it for that long, I don't know that I could be entertaining enough to have someone else want to enjoy it for even half that long.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that explains it then, because you do have a really wide array of games. So but they're all games I guess you enjoy playing for long sessions, like The Division and stuff like that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, The Division, I could go on that for hours and hours. If I had the opportunity. I don't ever have the opportunity lately, but
right, yeah.
it's a thing.
And you're a solo player of The Division, is that correct?
I have been generally. When I started playing it, I didn't really have anyone that would play at the same time. So I was a solo player, kind of by choice, because you can always group up with randoms, but also by necessity.
Sure, yeah, okay.
Our first run through of the first game, I would play with Andrew. Oh, I would play as a loose term. He would kill guys, and I would get experience, and then
right, you were a
that way. Yeah.
Trev would hang out in the corner, and I would take care of everything.
Yeah, like, so I was like, how are you doing today? And like, that was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I played the first division way too much. I got way too good at that one, and I still wasn't good, but.
No, you were good. If you weren't good, then I need to revisit some stuff. We
were pretty bad. Like, we spent so much time on the train level.
Oh my god, there was one mission, it was like early in the game, and I think me, Trev, and Tiff, it was before B started playing with us, me, Trev, and Tiff spent
practically the whole stream on that level.
Yeah, I think that was basically all I did that day.
And then
that was a busy day, in my opinion.
I literally watched Andrew do it on stream on like the hardest setting, and like a fraction of the time we did. And I was like, okay. I think we're just bad. Like,
is that the one where you're going through the subway and they have random gas bombs that go off?
I think that's part of it.
I remember there's like there's a bunch of like proper trains, not like subway trains. Like,
oh, I know which one you mean.
Like choo-choo trains, you know?
Yeah, it's like it's very early in the.
Yeah, it's like very early, and we were probably like under leveled or something. Like, probably someone who understands like the meta of the Division would be like, oh, hey, you guys are just bad because you're doing this.
And the first one was
sense of like
classes
or anything like that. So. I remember Andrew asked us something about our like healing or something, and we were like, what?
Yeah.
Healing?
He'd always be pulling out these terms and we'd be like, what? You can do that in this game?
Hey, Pi, how are you?
Yeah, I put in a little too much time on that game.
The,
And really,
when
the
you're-
reason I say I wasn't good is because you always see people that are better than you, but I've
Oh, yeah.
seen people like miles and miles ahead of where even I am.
Unless you're
That
like
it
a
makes
top
me
tier
feel like
player,
I'm-
you're never gonna see anybody else.
Exactly.
Well, like that's the thing about gaming now that like when like because like I say I've seen Andrew stream the like first Devil May Cry and like you could play the first Devil May Cry and it's like kind of a difficult game and you'd be like I got through it like I did good, but then you watch someone now you can get on like there wasn't like what back when that came out like a bunch of YouTube videos of Donguri being better than me, like
Yeah.
it was just you and your own self evaluation. But now if you play a game that has any sort of high skill cap whatsoever, especially a fighting game, you just get on and you're like, oh wow, that's
Oh, yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
good at this at all.
You're like before it happened, I was like, yeah, I'm amazing at this, and then after you watch like someone else play, it's like, oh, I'm actually trash at this.
yeah,
I have so much to learn still. No, and actually, now that you keep bringing up Devil May Cry. When I first played that was when it came out, and I probably spent 20 hours on the game and didn't get past the second boss.
Yeah.
But when I was actually playing on stream, I think it took me 5.5 hours for the whole game.
Yeah, it was relatively
And I
short.
don't want to say it's because Trev carried me or gave me pointers, but it
Well,
helped.
it's a solo game. I couldn't carry you if I like unless we modded it and somehow. But
Did
You
he
know what I
backseat
mean, though. You gave me the backseat. Backseat. That's the word.
yeah. No, that definitely like games like that take a lot of time to get used to, and the knowledge now, like I say, the knowledge is so much more. On that same token, even though you may feel worse when you watch videos, so many people being good, you can also get 10 pointer videos on how to play the game.
Oh, exactly.
And you get just sort of much better at it. I can't even imagine trying to like play Monster Hunter, how much different my experience would have been had I just been a solo player, and like how much slower it would have been for me to learn things.
there's a lot to learn in that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah,
Which to be fair, I didn't teach anybody. I gave you like the core basics that you need, and that's it. And I didn't explain anything else. But like we
Taught
got
by
through it.
example.
I mean, I feel like I put literally 100 hours in that game. I still feel like I'm learning new things every time we jump into it. So
Well, it's such a dense game. There's so much to learn that there's no way you are gonna learn everything in less than 100 hours. I'd say less than 200 or 300 hours for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I see, like I go on Twitch and watch really experienced players, and they'll be like, "Oh, look at this," and I'm like, "Oh, okay,
And
wow."
that and the world is actually easier than the older one. So like,
yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah,
think about it this way: it's like this is the easier version of Monster Hunter.
the
So if
easier
you
version
played
of what I'm
the
having
older
trouble with.
school
Yeah.
ones, like you'd
Yeah.
be stuck forever.
I think a lot of single player or multiplayer competitive players know the experience because like there was always a historical thing, like you'd play a game like Halo, you'd play it single player and you play it on a harder difficulty and you'd be like, I'm great at Halo, and then you get online and like you get demolished in every match for the first 300 matches until all of a sudden one day you're good at it. Like
I must not have played 300 matches then because I still get demolished every time.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, I mean, now the legacy skill in Halo is so long, that
But
like
now
people-
now you know Crepe, so that's all you gotta do is you just play with
Yeah,
Crepe,
just-
and then you win.
Yeah. Seriously, how is Crepe so good at FPS games that it blows my mind?
the skills I think are really transferable. Probably not from like a mechanical. Well, the part of it is probably his reaction time and his mechanics. He is a young man after all. But I think part of it is like I think the strategic mind probably carries over. Like if like certain like maybe like little tips, like back in like the Resistance days, we used to tell new players to stay on the border of the map. You know what I mean? So you don't get crept up on. Right? It's just like a short, fast heuristic to doing a little bit better. And he probably has a whole like list, not like a formal list, but in his mind, he probably has a whole set of heuristics that just like, these are just like universal across all things.
Oh, definitely.
Also,
Yeah,
but
probably
after
because
that-
he's been playing since he was like a fetus too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's and he's a very genre focused player. He really embraces FPS, even though they're very like Siege is nothing like Halo, is nothing like Overwatch, etc.
Yeah, I mean they're all point and shooties, but they're very very different in how you go about that. So you're absolutely right. They're the same genre, but it's like comparing apples and oranges, really.
Yeah,
Completely
exactly.
different profiles.
Yeah, I find it pretty inspirational to watch genre specialists like Crepe. Actually, it's really cool. It almost makes you want to be a genre specialist, and then you try, and you're like, but I gotta mark these assignments or something like it's a lot of hard work. Morgan feels bad that I have to mark assignments.
You have a whole stack right over.
Yeah.
Can't see them, but they're right there.
You just burn them and be like, oh, I don't know what happened. They're not.
I don't know what happened,
anymore.
man.
Am I a genre? Says Squirrely. Squirrely, you're one of a kind. You're not a genre. And
I don't know
let
what that
anyone ever
means.
tell you that you are.
That's a good response.
I'm
So do you have like a
totally-
rubber stamp that you can just mark those with? Make it nice and easy on yourself?
Oh, that would be nice. That would be.
You know how like back in like primary school they would just like take a thing, stamp it, and be like A-OK or whatever, like the like little like
Yeah,
fun
good
stamps.
enough.
Yeah, like good job, excellent.
Or you'd get
just,
you get the stickers for each one. The
Oh,
stickers with the A or the B on them.
That's the dream, but like at the university that I mark for, like it's a very competitive school, so the students
Okay.
are all like they're min-maxing as people, not as D&D characters. Like they're like, I'm throwing all of this into this. I threw 10 points into being argumentative with the TA, and I threw 0 points into being polite with the TA. Yeah.
That doesn't
And-
sound like a formula for success.
It doesn't.
I agree with you.
Also, if you have 0 points in studying.
Yes,
or-
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, if you also underplayed your studying stat, then you're in trouble.
And the last class Roy had was 10 points
Dylan,
in
thank you so
cheating,
much for
and
the
then 10 points in getting caught. So
Yeah. Well, that's what I always tell people, right?
Fight the TA.
In terms of getting caught cheating, I was like, listen, I gave the speech at the beginning of every semester, right? Listen, there's 200 of you. One of you is a snitch. If you cheat, someone's gonna tell me, right? And lo and behold, that always happens, right?
So wait,
I absolutely love that though.
if there was one snitch and that one snitch was the one that cheated, would they snitch on themselves?
Ooh.
or would they try to pin it on somebody else?
Interesting.
The person that hates them will then become a snitch.
Yeah.
Snitches get twitches.
Snitches. So I did kind of want to segue into just because I really want to hear everybody else's opinions on this, because I already know Rory's. Has everybody seen the new controller for the PS5?
Oh yes.
Which I think is hilarious that we get to see the controller before the actual system, but whatever. What is everybody's opinion on that? I guess Rory could probably start since he already
No,
has
I'll
it.
go. I want Andrew to start.
Want Andrew to
Actually,
start?
yeah.
Yes. Let's have Andrew
All
go
right,
first.
so I like it from an aesthetic standpoint, but from a usability standpoint, I don't think it's going in the right direction. It looks like it's too curved, and your hands are going to get fatigued from how you'd have to hold it. So aesthetically, I do like it, but I don't think that's worth having it that shape.
Mel?
Do we actually have a picture we can pull up on the stream?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we
I
don't.
can pull
I
it
lied.
up.
Hang on a minute. Trev's got it.
Just thinking
Chunky
instead of having
Thomas
everyone else
controller,
imagine.
yeah, actually. So yeah, I kind of agree. Honestly, like, because Roy's actually mentioned this before, he's never really liked the light on it. Mostly because it can drain the battery a little bit faster. For me, this is gonna sound really dumb, but so like, I'll sit like this sometimes with my controller, like when I play, like when I'm like sitting back, I'll just kind of be like this, and it gets in my eyes real bad, and that's my reason for not liking that light. But I'm honestly not sure about the way that it looks, just because whenever they do I mean, I guess it would depend on how they do a custom controller, because I love custom controllers, and with the 2 colors on it, I'm wondering how they're going to do that. Like, if they do like a certain kind of like, I don't know, a God of War controller or something, or just a new controller, is it always going to be 2 colors, or are they going to have an actual design to it?
Well,
That's kinda what I'm wondering
for like, I have this one right here.
I'm pretty sure that if you
did,
throw that controller,
they did
you
one like
come
this
back.
where it was like camo and it had black as a
Boomerang.
base.
Mhm. Or like where's mine?
There was an old boomerang PlayStation
And then
3 controller
this is the
design. If you
Monster
guys
Hunter
remember,
one.
the
That's
original
got, like,
PS3 concept was like
Yeah.
a boomerang.
So you know, like
Like I
There's
don't
that
mind it
one.
on
Like,
these, but
yeah, like obviously they have the two colors here, but having the two colors going like whatever that was, I do find it interesting. But I don't know, like I do like the customized controllers. That's usually what I tend to go for. Like any kind of customized controller. That like I like my Uncharted one, even though it's not like super fancy. But I really like having those. So I'm wondering how they're going to do designs for them, if they're going to keep with the scheme of it, or if they're going to change things. So I kind of hope that they will. And Dylan, thank you so much for more bits.
Yeah, thank you. I've also seen those renders. Melly, controller thoughts?
It looks bulkier. Is that?
Yeah, it
Yes.
does.
I mean,
It does. Yeah,
and
I
this
agree with
is
that.
also why, like, I've never been a huge fan of the Xbox controller because I feel like when I hold it, I'm like holding a box of tissues, and it just seems like it's always been kind of clunky for me. So I'm not. I think the same thing that Andrew said about it not looking as comfortable, but I won't know until I actually hold it. You know?
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it's one
Um,
of those
just-
situations where like you need to hold it in order to actually like pass a judgment of.
Real quick, did
Yeah.
somebody did somebody put a link in here? I don't think they did, right?
Oh, I showed it on stream for the picture of the controller.
And
Okay,
I
I'm
think
gonna put a link in there too, just in case somebody wants to look at it again.
what I find
That's
interesting.
from actual PlayStation, by the way.
What I find interesting is that typically Xbox has been the one that keeps changing the controllers like every so often.
Yeah,
and then
drastically.
PlayStation.
They've
it's
had the
always pretty
same
much the same-
controller layout since PS1.
Right.
Yeah, it has.
I mean, Xbox is not as drastic as like Nintendo in their
Nintendo
controller
is
changes.
not even
Yeah.
like
Well, yeah, Nintendo is just, yeah.
Parker.
They're just on their own trip, to be honest. Like, they're just doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Well, and what if that's part of everyone's aversion to this new layout is that PlayStation's had such a static controller layout that now
I think-
anything different seems way off.
I think that's a part of it. I think a part of it might be the fact that a lot of people now, like, more people, like, it used to be like the old Xbox controller, like, if you remember the giant thing with the billion buttons on it, like the
yeah.
I'm talking the original Xbox controller, like,
You want like a
who
black
used
button
that?
and a white
People
button.
use that were the people who played the Xbox, right? And now controllers are no longer just used by the people who play the console. Like, people use their PS4 controller on their PC. People use their Xbox controller on their PC. So I think
But-
there's like more of a spread on like,
I got a meme for this. I'm gonna post it.
like when I back in that generation, like I didn't care what the Xbox controller was because I didn't want to buy an Xbox. You know what I mean? But now it's like the PlayStation controller comes out, the new one. people who buy it are going to be like, well, I use my PS4 on my PC. I want to upgrade to this one, but they don't like the way it looks. Or I love that, by the way. That
Yeah,
meme
that's
that
good.
Melly post. I get
Zippy's actually with the link that he posted. I mean, because it looks pretty good when it's all
Yeah,
black like
I've seen that
oh yeah,
one
I've seen
too,
them all
where
black.
it's
Right?
all
Yeah,
black.
yeah, that's really good.
I just realized like what it really reminds me of, which is another Sony game, but it reminds me so much of Detroit Become Human.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the Google Stadia, and
Okay.
I was like, "Whoa, how?"
I got a question. Will it light up like the colors? Because I'm gonna be really confused if I don't have like my purple square, green triangle.
I was just gonna say that. So you
Well,
know
for
what's
me
a
and Trev, it's not
defining
gonna matter,
feature?
but for everyone else, yeah, you might have
Yeah,
a
like-
point.
Well, no, because a defining feature of the PlayStation controller is
that
that
a lot.
each button has its own color.
I agree. I also like that. I find the colors less like obnoxious than the Xbox ones, which are kind of like more in your face. Like the way the colors are shown on the Xbox, I find like it just is. The colors are a little more neon, a little more bold. Which maybe some
But I
people
think
like.
they're
really
more
don't.
in a glossier tint than the
Yes.
PS4 ones. I think PS4 ones are like brushed on, and then the Xbox ones are like
yeah, they are. They're a
displayed
bit
as like
glossier.
Yeah.
snow globe or something.
Yeah.
It- you can't really see it all that well, but you can kind of see that the buttons are kind of more like maybe
embossed.
they
yeah,
that's not just painted on there. Yeah.
So about this new controller, something I'm looking at in the image that Zippy posted.
Yeah.
the arrow buttons and the face buttons, they do look like they're clear because you can see some sort of light refraction in them.
Mhm.
And if you
Yeah.
look at the left small button, the image above it almost looks like it's a light
Yes.
kind of an image icon.
Yeah.
It looks
So
like
I
a
wonder if
dimmer
it's something
or
where you
something.
can turn it on or off.
So that actually, because I read almost the entire thing about it. That's their. It's not the share button anymore. It's the create button. So
So
that's actually
what I
what
heard
that
That's
is
the story.
it's going to be the
But it
exact same
won't-
thing,
it'll-
except just
But
changed.
But if it is light up, it will make the battery drain quicker, right? Like,
Yes.
Yeah, I really hate that about the PS4 controller. I'm not gonna ramble about that yet. I want Trev's take on this controller.
So like Andrew said, I thought aesthetically the controller is pleasing. Like it's like fine. Like I'm not one of those people who care if it's like nothing needs to be uniform solid colors because like everything I have in my computer is RGB and it's always on Rainbow Wave, and then like my desk and everything is Rainbow Wave.
Yeah.
So I don't care. I like dual tone stuff. I know that's like a very 80s thing, but like I don't mind it. Until I hold it and like use it, I'm not sure how I'm gonna like it because I have
That's fair.
used
Yeah, I'd like
Xbox
to feel
controllers
it,
and
honestly.
like I think they're too like awkward to be held, and that's
Sure.
saying. And everyone always says Xbox controllers are better for people with larger hands, and I disagree because I have huge hands and I prefer the PS4 controllers.
Yeah, it is a bit more Xbox looking, to be quite honest. I'm
Do you mind if
I'm holding my controllers up, and I'm actually looking. It's definitely a bit more Xboxy looking.
It almost looks like someone took the original Duke's sides and just like cut them and formed them to a PS4 controller.
I kind of know what you mean. Actually, that's kind of an interesting point and a disturbing one, also.
But what I will
yeah.
say is that because with previous gens, you were still able to use, or you could use the PS4 on the PS3, the controllers. I'm wondering if they'll be the same way for this, because the touchpad is still a relevant thing. So since they're not changing much, I imagine you'd be able to take the PS4 controllers and move it forward with the PS5.
That's a good
Maybe?
point, actually. I really, yeah.
It depends on the interior hardware, though. If it's got
That's
different
also true.
accelerometers,
Yeah.
But there were the like rumors or whatever. I don't know if they've been debunked, but like the whole backwards compatibility thing. So if they put that effort into that, then maybe they would have put effort into controller backwards compatibility.
One of the things also that's in this controller I do find interesting, but at the same time I feel like it's a bit unnecessary because most people who are going to play with friends are probably going to have some kind of headset or small-ish chat link or something. There's a built-in microphone on this thing, so you actually don't need your headset. Like if you just want to have a quick chat with somebody, which is interesting.
I'm scared for how it will sound.
I wonder
But at the same time, I find
how
it's
you're
unnecessary.
supposed to hear it. Is there still an input for like headphone
Yes.
jacks and
There-
stuff?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They did say in the article, because the article that I linked is actually the entire thing from Sony.
Yeah, it's the PlayStation blog article.
So they
yeah.
talk
Yeah.
all about. But so there you obviously you can still use a headset. They even say in there, but if you're going to be playing for a longer time, it'd probably be better to use a headset. But if you want to chat real quick, then you can. There is a mic on there, but I just find it a little unnecessary. That's just me.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna sound. Honestly, like I'm worried.
Yeah.
I'm scared to hear
Yes.
that.
It
Like-
can't sound as good as a good headset. You know what I mean?
No, oh my
Right.
god, no, it will not.
Like I'm not
So-
gonna get AT 2020 like quality out of.
Yeah. My thing about this is a bit complicated, I guess. So if you look at an Xbox 360 controller or an Xbox One controller, one of the things you're going to see is that on the triggers, there's a little stop. The controller comes out under the trigger just a little bit, and that actually makes it pretty comfortable to hold if you're going to hold the trigger for a long time, like if you're going to play a racing game. But the thing it does not allow you to do is a quick flick back and forth of the trigger. If you look at a DS3, the triggers... Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
The triggers are lower than the controller on the side that they're on. So if you're playing Bayonetta or you're playing DMC and you've remapped like a dodge, like you're playing in Trickster and you've remapped dodge the right trigger, you can really quickly flick the trigger. So that's the upside in gameplay. The downside is that controllers are angled down. So if you put the controller down on a desk, you can really easily hit the triggers on this thing.
Yes.
So
that's
people watching
happened to me
Netflix
many a
are
time.
absolutely up the wall because they put the thing down on their leg or something, and all of a sudden they're watching the beginning of Attack of the Clones and not the end. Whereas these, where they have that thing on the bottom, you just put it down and it's fine. And you could slide it across your leg if you were so inclined, and you wouldn't be hitting the trigger. You cannot do the same thing with a PS3 or PS4 controller. The other thing that is potentially important is the buttons, maybe like the Xbox buttons, which are convex, which is to say they curve upward like this, as opposed to concave, which is curved, like this, like outward like thing. So they're like dome structured, which I personally hate with a passion, but you might not. And the good thing is it looks like they kept the PlayStation D-pad, which I've always enjoyed, like the DS3 D-pad. And like I'm sort of like meh on the analog sticks. I'm glad they're not the old DS3 analog sticks, which again are also convex.
DS3 analog sticks were terrible.
They were really, really bad, right? There's just no place to rest your thumb. Xbox analog sticks, in my opinion, are just nicer in that way because you can kind of rest your thumb on them.
I honestly didn't mind the PS3 analog or sticks, but then again, when I hold a controller, the sides of my thumbs are actually what I'm using. So maybe that's part of it.
I feel like I might
I've
have
got a different
actually
hold.
liked the PS3 one a little bit
See,
better too.
I like the size of the DS3, but that's partly, I think, because I have small hands. And so for me, like, I find some of the larger controllers to be a bit awkward.
Yeah, I kind of like these a little bit better.
I would also say
I
like
made the argument that was like, people say that you have larger hands, you would enjoy the Xbox ones, but I don't.
But you don't, yeah.
I think it's too awkward to hold. And I have huge hands.
I'm personally glad that they kept the PlayStation D-pad placement, because I don't like it when the D-pad takes the place of the left analog stick, because although most games don't use the D-pad very prominently, fighting games do. And you've got to reach across the thing to hit the D-pad, and I don't like what that does to my hand.
If you use the analog stick for fighting games, you're like not an actual fighting game player.
Yeah.
I will say that every time PlayStation has had a new controller, I've always been like skeptical of it first, and then I end up liking it. So
yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I almost feel like I'm kind of like Trevor. Like I'm really just not going to know until actually I hold it. And
I really want to know.
I feel like a lot of people are gonna be the same way though, where it's like they won't know, and then like I imagine if you're a fan of the previous versions or iterations, you'll be a fan going forward of the ones that come out when it's.
Yeah. The also I gotta say that I think one of the things I can't tell is how it's gonna feel like the finish, because like the DS3 has that really shiny finish. And like whereas the PS4 has that like matte finish, you know, and
the matte finish was potentially better because the glossy finish, you felt like you weren't able to securely hold the controller, and you felt like you were like twisting.
So like if I can say something actually, because I used this one in particular a whole lot when I was playing Yakuza. Melly knows how much I played Yakuza. I mean, I think I put like at least 60 or 70 hours into Yakuza 2 alone. For Yakuza 4 and 5, I actually put about, I think, like 68 and 80, respectively, into Yakuza 4 and 5. There's a lot of like fighting in those games, and it's a whole lot of button pressing, a whole lot of moving the analog sticks, a whole lot of using these buttons. And let me tell you, it actually kind of hurt my hand, but it honestly was a little bit difficult holding this controller in particular, because like, I'm going to be honest, it made my hands pretty sweaty.
Yes. Yeah. And then you constantly move. So
I'd be squeezing the controller and like trying to move around, and it honestly kind of like brushed too much on my hand that it actually made it a bit uncomfortable after. So yeah, I actually don't like that either because of that.
Yeah. All in all, I actually do like the DS3, though. I have to say, I look back on it fondly. Even with the analog sticks I don't like in the finish, I don't like. I loved the triggers. I loved the D-pad. Like, and I really liked the size of it as well. But that's a minority opinion. I'm aware that they do not make controllers for me. Like, that they need to do something broader. As far as the look goes, honestly, the look of controllers, I almost could take or leave. It's not my favorite combination of two colors. I would actually rather it just be all white.
And let's just throw this out there because we know it's gonna happen. There are gonna be 18 different iterations of this controller. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
the
That's
PS,
thing, there's
like,
gonna be an all
it's
black
not
one right away.
standalone. It's not gonna be like, oh, there's white or there's black. It's gonna be like 20.
And
No,
that's,
exactly.
that's what I'm excited for, just because I love, like I said before, I really like customized controllers.
Yes.
I've been pretty disappointed the last few years because the berry blue one that Melly has is so pretty, you know. I have my rose gold one that I was pretty excited about.
I actually think this one has like the most
I
on
also
it.
have the rose gold
'Cause
one.
you
this
do
is-
have the rose gold, I
this
remember.
has the,
I
like,
Ellie, do you collect PlayStation 4 controllers?
I have 4.
I don't. I get them gifted to me,
Yeah, she
and,
does.
and I don't complain about it. So I actually alternate between the berry blue and the rose gold. So when I'm using one, the other one's always charging. So
Ash has the one that's like a crystalline one or whatever. That's like all see-through and you can like see inside of it. I thought that
Oh,
one was pretty cool. But I think that's because it reminds me of Pokemon Crystal.
I really
and, like,
wanted
the
that
cartridge.
purple one that came out last year.
Yeah, the purple one, the electric purple was really
Electric
cool.
purple,
So like those colors are all really neat and everything. So like the berry blue, like the rose gold.
The forest green one's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I actually was looking for that one, but I ended up not being able to get it. They did
Or Alpine green, I think.
yeah. They did a special one for like the 20th anniversary of PlayStation also, which was really cool. But the last few years I've been pretty disappointed because all they've had are just those like they're pretty colors, don't get me wrong, they're really nice colors. But the last few years they have not been doing any like
They've had like I think 2 designs, and I think it was the God of War one that you had to
Actual
get the
design one?
PS4 as well, and then
yeah, the actual
Monster Hunter
design one that have to do with an actual game are the ones that I go for. I like those the most. I mean, this is not a controller that is like a specialized controller, it's just a skin, but it is like a Final Fantasy one that has like a galaxy on it. It's pretty, you know, I like those. But I like the ones that have to do with actual games. Like, I really want to try to find a pro controller for the Switch that's Xenoblade, just because I like Xenoblade, and it's a really cool looking controller. And it makes, you know, I like it, because it's like, oh, I love this game, and I got this cool controller that's also from the game. In the last few years, they've not been doing any. The only ones that they've done are just with the PlayStation 4 Pro. So you have to spend like $300, $400 just to get that controller. Like the Spider-Man one.
Oh
they
yeah,
did a
that
King
was
of
also.
Hearts
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I don't.
Monster Hunter.
The
God of
Spider-Man
War.
one, that one wasn't really like super designed. It was just like you
It
had
wasn't,
white buttons
but it was
instead of
cool.
like whatever.
Because it was that bright red with the
Yeah.
white with the
Yeah.
the white buttons.
The Spider-Man designs were actually very minimal. Generally, like even the steelbook is like a minimalist
Yes.
sort of
It is,
style
yeah.
steelbook. They really went with that.
Mhm.
Like,
Is there a particular game that you wish they had done that for, Morgan?
Um,
Since you,
I would have loved to see a Persona one. Actually, a Persona 5 one could have been really cool.
They could have
I know
had
they
like a
did.
mask as like the layout.
They could have done something really cool for that one. I actually have the Uncharted one. It's at my brother's house at the moment. It's just a blue. A Last of Us one actually would have been pretty cool too. But probably, I mean, I would have liked to see a Kingdom Hearts that had a whole bunch of really cool designs. But again, that only came with the PS4 Pro. But Persona, I think, actually would have been a really neat one. Maybe one for like Final Fantasy VII would have been really neat because they could not.
I
now
don't
get,
think
like,
they're doing another Pro though. I don't. I think the last Pro they had said they were gonna release was like a couple games ago.
Oh, the Death Stranding one was really cool too because that was like a yellow see-through one. Now this controller's a little bit busted. It's not the greatest controller, which is why I got a new one. But this is the one that came with my my current PS4. It was
The 15.
yeah, it was just a slim. I should have just gotten myself a Pro to be quite honest. But this was all it was. It's backwards right now, but like all it was an XV for 15, and that was it. I don't mean that. Like,
Yeah, that's not really a design. That's just like, oh, let's
That's not
paint this on.
customized.
Like you,
Yeah.
anyone here could go and take a marker and do that themselves. Like,
exactly. So like that's what I like to see. Like, so that honestly makes me a little bit happier when I see companies doing really neat customized controllers for their own games. And that's why like Xbox, in my opinion, wins at that because they've had I almost said God of War. They've had Gears of War ones, and they've had a PUBG one. They did what was the other one that they did? Minecraft. And they were really cool looking. Like
play Minecraft.
the pig one, they did shut up. They Oh my god! But they did a pig one for an Xbox controller, and so like it just had the Minecraft pig, and on the back it had a little tail, right here. And I just thought it was really cool. I wish that they would do those more often. So that's what I'm looking forward to for the PS5, and I hope that they don't do specialized bundles where that's the only way you can get those controllers.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to see like a Kingdom Hearts one or a Last of Us one.
Oh, you have a Mirror's Edge.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
Quick-
That game has a pretty cool aesthetic.
A quick thing, nobody mentioned that I just remembered. PS4 or PS5 controller is actually switching to the Type C port, so everyone's really happy about that.
Okay. So like,
So they don't have to have like a specialized cord.
I wonder if Xbox would probably eventually do that. I mean, I know that they're going to be batteries still, but they'll probably do that also, I would guess.
I can't believe they're still
Switch
running
to-
on batteries.
Yeah, they're still.
Yeah, I
running batteries.
don't know why they
For Series X.
need batteries, but you know.
To sell their battery packs, probably, because they do battery packs. That's actually probably the reason.
That
makes perfect sense.
It makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like physically.
They're creating their own supply and
like-
demand, but like.
Oh, hey, Johnny, how are you?
Johnny.
Well, that's just smart business right there to create your
That
own
is.
supply and demand.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, that's undoubted. I would rather the smart business be like the thing, like a Blu-ray situation. You know what I mean? Like, but I accept that of course is not always the way business works.
I think they're not going to do that anymore, Tater. I think there was something about that they have to change it. I want to say, or in terms of Apple, I could be wrong, but I heard that they are actually having to switch over to like a universal charger. Melly and Pepe.
Hey, Johnny.
Wind up charging flashlight technology into a tryhard controller. That sounds.
Oh, you mean like those
Interesting.
flashlights and like radios that you could use that were like winding? And I was like,
that's
Oh,
the
you
dream.
wind it for 30 seconds and it'll run for 5 minutes?
yeah. That'd be the most annoying thing ever. It's like, hold on, I need to beat this boss.
Oh, could they in the US? Which would be a dick move. I mean, everything's been using it now because even like the Switch, that's what they use. They use USB-C. My phone does, so. Or not, you know, I'm not a science doctor.
Oh, is this the first time
Oh.
you've seen me? I know you've heard my voice, but
But it'll be interesting for the controller. They're calling it DualSense is what this one is.
yes. And what does that mean? Because like they were saying
I
with the other
think
controllers, it was
it's,
like
It means in some marketing meeting, someone thought it sounded better than DualShock.
Probably.
I honestly think that's the whole.
I think the
Well-
thing about it is that it does sense more. Like I think it's supposed to be that like the buttons and everything and the controller is supposed to feel like it works a little bit better. Not to mention they have the create button on it and then also the microphone built in. So and it probably is like maybe has the same kind of technology that like would be in like the Joy-Cons, for example. I mean, I know there's been a lot of controllers that have had stuff like that, but like for example, like when I'm playing like in
motion
handheld
controls.
mode
Yeah.
for Animal Crossing, when I catch a big fish, I actually know that it's a more of a rarer fish when I'm playing in handheld mode because I can feel it in the Joy-Cons.
Mm.
They just have a different feel to it.
That's
when
pretty
you-
cool, actually,
Yeah.
as a feature. Yeah.
There was
Well,
another thing they did for
Looking through their whole list, it looks like there's some resistance in the triggers because they're talking about adaptive triggers and you
Yeah.
can feel tension.
Huh.
That's
Like-
probably that
like
mix
pull a
of
bow.
emotion.
That is something like I actually really would like to try some of those like early models of like because of course some keyboards actually they're looking into doing that, and I think that'd be really interesting for certain games.
It is really interesting
Uh,
technology. I mean, for me, I haven't played 1-2 Switch, so I don't know how well exactly it feels to what they say it's supposed to feel like. But apparently, I don't want to take my Joy-Con off. I just realized it's Animal Crossing still on. But when you actually take the I guess I could use my phone for it. Like so, like when you take the Joy-Con, for example, like you hold it like this for 1-2 Switch because you have to use the one Joy-Con for it. Supposedly, like you can actually feel it. Like I think there's supposed to be a mini game where you can feel like you're holding a glass with ice cubes in it, and when you shake it, it actually feels like what it would feel like shaking a glass with ice cubes in it. So like it feels like there's like a bunch of little impact.
Or
which
what
is
if they
interesting.
just put ice cubes in it?
Yeah, what if there's really
It's a trick. Yeah.
That's why the Joy-Cons have drifting issues.
It's the
Oh
ice-
my god, that's it.
Yeah.
They just are melting.
And that's
The
that's
Joy-Cons
why
really do have drifting issues, by the way.
They go to
because
shit after like a couple
Pro
months
unless
because they
you set
melted.
resistance on the
I honestly don't
Oh,
understand
interesting.
why there is like flimsy is the wrong word, but like they really don't have much like endurance at all. It's kind of sad because I don't hate them, on everything else. You know what I mean? I mean, they do kind of what they're supposed to do, I suppose, generally.
Nerdy talk. They fall apart at the drop of a hat. You have to be really careful with the Joy-Con. For me, I wish that I had sent mine in when my left Joy-Con was acting up, because I gave my old Switch to my mom, and I might just get a new Joy-Con someday, but I got her a Pro controller for now, because she mostly plays on the TV, because she's played like Untitled Goose Game and Little Nightmares and Animal Crossing. And so I got her a Pro controller just to make it easy, because my Joy-Cons actually had been acting up almost since day one, but I didn't worry too much about it because at the time I was exclusively playing in handheld mode, and for me they worked fine in handheld mode, but as soon as they were a little bit under full charge in TV mode, they wouldn't work very well. And unfortunately for me, when I started streaming, I needed to have my Switch in TV mode in order to actually stream it. And so whenever I use my Joy-Cons, they'd mess up. So I actually ended up getting myself a Pro controller because of that. So far, I've had this Switch for not even a month, and they're acting fine. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll have solved an issue, but I don't know if they did, because I was having issues from day one. I chalked it up to just that it was because it was a day one Switch, but my brother bought a pair of the yellow Joy-Cons like a year and a half later, like after launch, and those were acting up all, and they were brand new.
For the price, they definitely don't deliver, in my opinion.
I mean, technically it's $30 per controller, because you can use one little one of the little Joy-Cons as one controller, but they are $80. And honestly, like what I've just been telling people is, unless you really need new Joy-Cons like to play in handheld mode, then I would get them. But if you want an extra controller, I would say get a Pro controller, or at least get one of the off-brand Power A Pro controllers, or a wired controller. That's actually what I would suggest.
I wish the days where you could just blow on something by Nintendo and it would fix it.
I know, right?
The cartridge you pull out.
Have you tried blowing on the Joy-Con? See if that fixes it.
Yeah, see, like, what Tater said, like, because technically it's two controllers, and that's usually how I tell people, like, listen, it is technically two controllers, so you can at least turn them on their side and have two people playing at the same time with them, but it is $80. And that's a lot of money to throw down right away for things that might break in like a month.
So something
And you have to be
Morgan
really
said,
careful with
like,
it too.
proc something in my like deep recesses of a memory. Do you guys remember the company Mad Catz?
Yeah, very well.
Somewhat.
Yeah, they used to make fight sticks and controllers.
They don't, as far as I'm aware,
Very true.
PS4
That's exactly what I said.
and Xbox don't have other controllers you can use besides their own ones anymore.
Well, I mean, Mad Catz, I don't think makes anything anymore. I think they went.
No,
out.
they're PC.
They're
they
PC
switched to
only.
PC products.
I wonder if they still do fight sticks. I don't think they must have stopped that as well.
Because I know
They,
back in the day, like on
yeah.
PS2, you could get the Sony ones, or you get like Mad Catz or like some other off-brand ones. So that,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
stopped
There was a
seeing
lot
that
more.
less and less.
It was more like the Wild West of controllers back then. There was all this wacky, like, sort of like, I don't know how to describe the feel of some of the controllers, but it was like foam, basically. Some of them were like, you get these like foam like PS2 controllers.
It's interesting, actually. I'd like to see what PlayStation will do in terms of third-party controllers, because they haven't done any third-party controllers that like you can get in like a regular retail store like GameStop or Walmart or Best Buy. Besides the Hori one that they did, which was basically marketed for children because it was tiny. It'll be interesting to see if they'll actually do that, because they have not done any third-party controllers.
Yeah, I think the last time they did that
Xbox
was
But
PS2. I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
they have
that's
PlayStation
1,000%. That's right.
they have PlayStation 3 off-brand controllers, but PS4 has had none that you like. that are like actually licensed that you can sell in like retail stores.
Ah.
So yeah, I don't know. They probably won't, to be quite honest. I can't really see it.
I imagine they want to keep all that in house.
That's exactly why they do that, because the
Oh, yeah.
Hori one in particular, Sony still got quite a bit of the money from that because it was still licensed by Sony.
Did you ever use one of those, by the way?
The Hori one?
Yeah.
I've held one.
Yeah.
Obviously because I worked at a GameStop. And they're fine. I usually tell people, because like, there are some people that just can't afford a $60 to $70 controller every time. That's why like the Xbox ones, it is okay because
I have
like,
4 of
you can
them.
at least spend $3 geez, like $30 on an Xbox One off-brand controller if you just really need one and you don't have enough money to get a brand new PlayStation controller. So I would try to tell people like, hey, there is this one. It's really small though. It's not a DualShock, and it doesn't have a touchscreen button. It's just a tiny little button in the middle of it, and it is very small to hold because basically the shape of it is like kind of like this.
That looks like an
you know what?
old
It's
Nintendo
sort of like an
controller.
NES controller,
like
a
the
little bit.
square ones that only had A,
Yeah.
B, and then the 4 buttons.
Or like a Super NES controller, I guess I should say. It's more like that. So they're very small. Usually I say they're better for like kids, because I've actually had other customers coming in that are like, do you have any other like off-brand controllers or a pre-owned controller? I like my daughter wants to get into gaming, but she's 5 and I'm afraid that she might break my nice $60 controller. And that's when I'm like, listen, there's this. It's $30. But they don't even really sell them all that often anymore now. So, but even then, like I said, it was still licensed by Sony. So it'll be interesting to see actually if they actually do that. But I don't know if they will. Xbox probably will.
There is some buzz in the chat about your shirt, Andrew.
Yes.
Yeah, the shirt.
Yeah, okay. I was just about to type that out.
He was
so-
living and like being the persona of his chat.
Exactly. No, so this shirt, I actually don't know where it's from because I got it as a gift from Ash. So you'd have to ask her where she got it from, but I've had it for a few years now, and I'll dig it out every now and again and pop it on, and it wears a little tight. I've over the years I've put on a little bit of weight, but it's good.
Is that also a banana hat behind you?
I was just gonna say, I was like, you should see him with
so-
the banana hat.
Yeah, my
that-
wife
so
actually
often.
built this side. Yeah, my
Well,
wife
I think
made that one right there.
She made.
Oh, she
that?
made it! Oh, that's
Aw.
awesome.
Yeah. Do you want me to go grab it? Should I go grab
Yeah,
it?
100% yes.
This is the content people crave.
Like, enough about controllers. Let's talk about we need a fashion show.
So if
Oh
you
my
guys
God,
are
we're
wondering
getting-
how
we're
Andrew
getting
got
our
on the
first
podcast, despite all the demand for guests, this is actually how it happened.
Yeah.
He told us
Andrew,
about the
He was
hat.
like, I'm
Andrew,
gonna
I
wear a
just want
banana
you to
shirt
know-
and wear a banana hat. And I was like, all right, cool, you're on.
I just want you to know this is the first ever fashion show on Streamers Become Human.
That's true.
Yes.
This is a big
Well,
moment.
I can put the other
So
hats
get-
on too if you want.
Get some hype in the chat.
Yep,
So
this is awesome.
She made it big enough that it could actually go
Oh
over the
my
headset too.
Oh my
That's
god.
awesome.
Oh
my
god, I feel like such a sellout right now. This is
Oh my goodness, this is fantastic.
And if you want more of this content,
awesome.
go follow, subscribe, and give bets, whatever.
Like,
to
comment.
AWALbanana.
well, yeah.
Do you have to give
Yeah.
bits to get Andrew to put on the hat? Is that,
No, I'm just
is
trying
that
to
a
help
channel
him out.
points thing, Andrew, that you can do like
Well, maybe I'll have to
You're
add
trying
that
get down,
now.
buddy.
yeah.
You're trying to get down.
Shout out to Mrs. Banana. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
I'll have to tell her that. Yeah,
That's the one of a kind.
probably 3 years ago is when she made this, like right when I first started streaming.
Oh.
So I got a question for y'all. Fire
All
away,
right, Johnny.
Johnny, while you're preparing your question, I'm gonna ask Andrew something. Andrew, this is gonna sound dumb, but to understand the context for this, I need to tell you that for literally 28 years of his life, my cousin, we all thought in the family his favorite cake was carrot cake. And it turns out it was just like one time he had a carrot cake and liked it. And then this mythos developed around him that he loved carrot cake and it was his favorite cake. And one day at, I believe, his like 30th birthday party, he looked at me and he said, Rory, I really prefer chocolate cake. And there was a deep sadness in his eyes because everyone in the family just, yeah, he loved carrot cake. That's Kevin. That's what he does. He just loves carrot cake. I have to wonder, do you actually like bananas? Or did
Yeah.
you
What's
say
the
something
lore?
offhandedly?
What's the lore behind the name aWALbanana? What's the lore?
Okay, so the lore behind the name. Bananas are my favorite fruit. They're one of the
Okay.
few fruits that I eat regularly. So yes. To answer the question, I do like bananas.
I was gonna say, well,
Okay.
that'd be depressing.
Okay,
If he
I
was
was
just
like,
like, I
honestly,
hate
if-
bananas.
If you said
Oh,
you
God.
didn't, honestly, like I was gonna have like an existential crisis.
Like, guys, I gotta tell you
Um,
something. I don't actually like soup.
Yeah.
Oh my
What?
God.
What?
I hate sugar. Just kidding. Just kidding.
But the other part of the name, the AWOL, back in college, my my college email actually started with AWOL because that's my first initial and the first 3 letters of my last name. And it struck me every time I got an email. It's always AWOL, AWOL, and technically it's not spelled like the military AWOL.
Yeah.
But when you say it, oh, this is my email. People understand because they've seen the military acronym there. So it was my tie into who I am and what I like was the story behind the name.
love
I
it.
like it.
So
yeah, I think it's awesome.
your thought process wasn't like make an account on Twitch where you game with like something gaming related. You were like, nah, I'm gonna put out that I like fruit.
Yeah, no, this is me. It's not necessarily about the game. It's not about only 5 more hours and other song lyrics. It's about me.
Well, see, I really like that because it's always really neat to ask people like, so how'd you get your username? Like, I'm not trying to say mine's like super stupid here for my my PSN name because it was a long time ago that I made it, but like mine's like Link of Kokiri. And it's like, okay, it's very obvious this person likes Legend of Zelda, but like talk to us.
I thought yours had like XX and then like at the end.
No,
Oh.
Lord, no. But like there's Toctopus. So like one of my favorite ones is actually Zippy's. Because it's just it's interesting. Like I always thought aWALbanana was always really interesting. Because you can tell there's a story behind it.
Andrew,
that's
Yeah,
not-
I mean,
I suppose
it's
a
not
story.
necessarily a
that-
big story, but it's a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's always stories behind the names that are just one off of something that makes perfect sense. There's something behind it, like you're saying, and it's always. I guess I don't know the story behind Zippy's name either, so I'll have to ask him that sometime. But
It's a reference to some old people thing that Zippy likes.
old people thing.
the episode's on
Probably know
YouTube
what
now,
that is.
so you can go watch all that lore if you want. But Andrew, did you ever
Wow, I
own a
think,
Wii
think
or a
Bob Thursdays have
GameCube
been
at some time?
The only Nintendo system I never owned. Well, actually, there are 2 of them. I never owned a GameCube, and I never owned a Wii U. But
Okay.
I did own all the other ones.
Nobody ever owned a Wii U.
Did you ever play that like? I can't remember what it's called, but it was really weird. Like, this is not really weird when I describe it, but like you were monkeys that were in spheres.
Super Monkey Ball. Yep.
Yes,
Super
yeah.
Monkey Ball. And there actually is a version of it, I believe, on PS4. I think it's Super Monkey Ball Blitz.
Did that have
I
anything
did
to
play
do
it.
to contribute with
Also.
your name and like? Did
No.
you like that game because it was just like you collect bananas or like they're monkeys so they eat bananas? Like,
Wait, so
No.
where did your love of gaming come from? Like, how did that develop?
When I was probably 7, 8, my dad had my grandpa's old NES, and so I started with the NES. And one of my good friends at the time through grade school, his parents got him every game system that ever came out. So it went from NES to, the PS1 came out, the N64 came out, the Xbox came out, and he had all 3, and we'd just have sleepovers and play games. It felt like all night to us, but it was probably till like midnight. And then, let's see, what else even happened? When my grandpa passed away, we got his old Atari, so I went back even further. And so I got a little bit of the old stuff and then some new stuff, back to the old, and then from the age of 10 or 12, basically we had all of the old and a couple of the new systems, and I just go back and forth between everything.
I
Is
feel
there
like
like a
that's,
favorite game you have from your childhood? Like one that sticks out was like that was my favorite game as a kid.
There is, but if I say it, I'm gonna sound like an absolute nerd. So
I'm
No,
so
just do
ready.
it.
I'm
It's
so
fine.
ready.
It's
We've
fine.
talked about controllers for
A nerd
40
on
minutes.
dumb human. Whatever will we do?
Nothing
It's
could be
tagged as
nerdier than that.
educational.
So my absolute favorite game growing up, and I devoted entire summers to this game, was Final Fantasy Tactics on the PS1. Have you guys heard of that one at all?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you know
I
the battle kind of
haven't.
draws you
I
in.
haven't because
I know of it, but I've never seen gameplay.
Gotcha. Well, it's Final Fantasy characters. It's the Final Fantasy world, but it's all turn-based, tile-based strategy, and it follows a story. So you've got different battles that you go through, different years. I think even it would go on, or maybe it was just months. But you have to go through the story, and each story there's a battle you've got to go through, or you've got to traverse through this tile set to get to a goal. And it was always interesting to replay it because there's so many different things you can do and so many different classes you can have or builds you can do for each character in there that even if you're following the same path, everything can be completely different.
Huh. That sounds really interesting.
So now it makes a lot of sense to me why you like stream the way you do, like the variety style as well, because you've always played a variety of not only different genres, but like consoles of really widely varying ages, like around the same time.
Oh yeah.
Who's the current guest? We actually have a current guest command we can do.
That's why
it's already been done for you. Don't worry about it.
The border for the current guest is always
but that's guest. Andrew. He's a great streamer and a fun guy, and he plays. When he gets to stream, he plays a lot of different types of games, and he's very good at Rocket League. And I'm very bad at Rocket League. I always notice
I wouldn't say I'm very good. I would say I'm not terrible.
Yeah, so
there are so many people that are so much better.
But that's in Rocket League especially, that's a really hard boundary to cross to get to the state where you're like vaguely competent. Like,
I would watch Andrew do stuff, and then like I've played Rocket League with my friends, but like when I see Andrew play, he's like doing like flips and then he like fly and shit, and I'm like, how you like? I didn't even know you do this. Like I thought you just like charge, and like he's doing all these like special moves. I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, Zaf was one of my good buddies that played Rocket League with me way back when it first came out. So he knows how I was at the start, and he knows I've gotten better. But I'm still nowhere near where I would like to be with the amount of hours that I put in on it. I think I've got about 426 hours on it.
I have a friend who's a very, very very skilled ranked Rocket League player. And I have kind of the same experience that maybe Zaffa has with you, where I saw him at the very beginning when the game first hit it big on PS4, and he started there, and then he switched to PC, and now he's well over 1,000 hours into the game, and very, very, very good. And it's pretty amazing to watch someone take that journey. There's a lot of dedication involved. Yeah, I actually agree, Zippy. That is one thing. You can take very simple mechanics and turn them into a complex game. Really, really. I think some fighting games are a good example of that, where you can have just, a couple, you don't have to have fighting game with a giant moveset to be really complicated. Some of the most complex fighting games have smaller movesets.
Well, and it's such an interesting game, too. It's giant soccer with trucks.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's the perfect
that's
way
it in
to
a nutshell.
explain
Yeah. That's pretty neat. Okay, so Johnny had a question. He said, number one, okay, well, we're not going to be able to come up with the question of that one because
we actually can.
The answer.
Yes,
did he tell us already? Trev did?
Oh yeah, we know. We were part of the. You remember there was a list of possible. It's a long story. We'll get there though. But
wait, with the podcast today.
No. The actual name of the podcast. Yeah, actually, so Johnny, surprisingly, you're actually a part of this story. So Trev was drinking one day, and arguably too many beers into the day, Trev suggested that we start a podcast, and it was. I think the idea hit home pretty quickly for the bunch of us, and we started to get more, sort of more comfortable and confident in the idea. Because if you're going to start a new creative endeavor, part of it is, getting amped up and getting hungry to start it, I think. And then one day we were playing Monster Hunter World on Melly's channel, and admittedly, me bringing this up feels a little awkward because it was a comment about me, but you said something about liking my voice and wanting me to do a podcast.
Yeah,
And
you have a
personally-
very podcast ready voice, and I didn't know at the
Thank you.
time that you had done radio.
Oh yeah, that's true, right? Yeah.
That's how I found out you did radio.
Oh, was it really? Oh,
I
that's
think
cool.
so.
Oh, I didn't know that. And that like made me feel really good. And we actually told you, I don't know if you remember on the day, because it was like, for all intents and purposes, it was just a random Monster Hunter World stream, which we've done a few of. We said, well, you're in luck. We actually like have something that we're like sort of cooking up for that. So yes, we are the original, like it is the same original host. No one's been like fired or had a big scandal yet or anything like that. So that's like how the podcast, I guess came about. It's been a blast, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
You just blew Johnny's mind.
It's actually one of like I was really pleased. Saw a tweet from Melly. Like this was in the early days of the podcast where Melly said, this is quickly becoming like my favorite part of the week. And like I kind of feel like the same way. Like I always look forward to this and look forward to talking to whoever's on and stuff like that, because we like I've spoken to Andrew on a number of occasions, but like almost everything Andrew's told me on this podcast is something that I didn't know about him before. So it's also a good excuse to like get to know people you already know like a little bit better.
Well, and to be fair, it's not like we, aside from Trev, I think I haven't had an opportunity to really speak with any of you other three. So this is a good growth opportunity, a good getting to know you guys opportunity. It's something that needed to happen a long time ago, honestly.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah, I agree 100%. And so yeah, that's how it came about. And as far as the name is concerned, this name was not mine and Melly's first choice. Me and Melly traded a few names in like, because I don't know, like I guess we were both in that creative mindset that day, and
we were pitching names that possible names for podcasts.
And like Trev pitched Streamers Become Human, and like I don't think anyone bit right away on that one. And I suggested something. Melly's like, "That's great, let's look into that." And we looked at it, was taken. And then Melly suggested something I really liked, and that was taken.
Yeah.
And like in the end, literally we had a list, and the only thing left was Streamers Become Human.
And it's a riff off of the game Detroit Become Human, which ironically I don't think any of us have played.
Morgan is the only one who's played.
Morgan's the only one who's played Detroit.
But Trev, who suggested it, had not played it.
But I think maybe everybody owns it, considering that it was free at one point.
Yeah, I own it. I just haven't played it.
I think everybody owns all of those games, like Heavy Rain and what is it, Beyond Two Souls?
It's like the YouTube album. It just shows up in your library against your will, kind of.
There's a lot of those on Steam because Steam summer sales are so big. Like I think like there's so many of my friends I know bought the Star Wars collection when it was like $20. It's like every Star Wars game. And then they like try to play one of the Star Wars games from like the late 90s and like, wow, this is awful. And like I like them, but like some of them can be jarring if you're not used to games like from that era. Like if you're Trev or something like that, and you really like have a modern sense of like controls.
Dang, did you just call Trev a kid?
I mean, it wouldn't be the first
He's
time
not
I
here
called
to
Trev a
defend
kid.
himself.
I mean, you call Trev your son, so I don't know.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
That's good. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's where we are now. It's interesting. We started back in October. Was that it? Or September?
It was October. I think it was. I want to say it was October because I think I had been living in London for about a month at that point.
Yeah, and here we are. It's neat. And yeah, I actually love that we have this just because it's fun. Honestly, like one of my favorite things, it's going to sound kind of silly, is after the podcast is over, because most of the time we just sit and we talk with each other. After.
I agree. Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of the ritual too, actually.
The ritual. You make it sound so ominous.
Yeah. I mean, we always tell people they've signed a lifetime contract to be on as many times as we request them back.
Which, hey, guess what, Andrew?
This is actually a cult.
Yeah.
This is your indoctrination.
It's a small cult, but it's getting bigger.
I'll write then.
I really appreciate that, John.
Aw,
really
Johnny, thank you.
That's very sweet. Yeah, guys, we have a YouTube there, so you can. Trev uploads all these podcasts to YouTube. So if you ever like hear about us reference a podcast where like, oh, we had Ash on, and you're like, oh, I'd really like to see how that went, then you can go watch the episode with Ash. And it's actually really cool to have an archive of all the guests we've ever had, because sometimes I'll actually go back and like watch something or hear a story again or something like that. I wanted to ask you guys a question now. Andrew, I know you're a bit of an Overwatch player. I've played with you before. I know you played like Reinhardt. I remember like you had good instincts for Reinhardt, even though I know you don't have a ton of hours into the game.
Yeah, I have maybe 6 hours total, but Reinhardt or Anna is usually who I picked in those 6 hours.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I don't know if you've read about or are interested in. Well, have you played any Counter-Strike before?
I have played a little bit of Counter-Strike, yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's right, Johnny. TL Breezy is Trev, yeah. So I'm not sure if you've heard about Riot's new game Valorant, which is like a hero shooter. The premise most of the people that have talked to me about it pitched it to me with was that it's like Overwatch meets Counter-Strike.
That's what I've heard too, and I've heard that it's either you love it or you're very meh at it.
That's exactly my experience with talking to people about it. So they released well, I shouldn't say they released. There's been videos made anywhere between 15 minutes and 40 minutes long about the hero abilities that they've just revealed, and they showed some gameplay and stuff. And I have to say, after having watched it, Morgan watched it as well. It's so much more like Counter-Strike than like Overwatch. Like, it's Counter-Strike with one element from Overwatch, which is hero power. The gameplay is not at all like Overwatch.
To me, I said to Rory, because it's a battle royale, I was like, this honestly, because you can die really quickly in it also, whereas like Overwatch, even though you respawn, I feel like it's not as quick when like a character gets like shot at and killed. And to me, I was like, I feel like this is more like Counter-Strike and Fortnite with like elements of Overwatch. Like that's what it looked like to me.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen any, so I can't speak too much on it. But if it's a battle royale, I can see pulling Fortnite into the comparison.
Well, it's single elimination, right? Like what I mean, you die once, you're dead for the round, kind of. Like it's rounded on like a battle royale, right? So there's gotcha. It's the Counter-Strike death system, right? Where it's like, okay, you're dead for this round, but there's another round coming up in soon.
You always thought Trev was Trinsic? Really?
No, not the new Overwatch pie, the Valorant, which is Riot's new game. So if you don't know Riot, they make League of Legends, which is, you might have mixed feelings about League of Legends. I hate its community, and I have pluses and minuses about the gameplay, but it's a very successful game, and it's very well supported. So people are hopeful for them doing a new game. The community is terrible.
Yeah. Poor Johnny is like going nuts right now. Trinsic is a different person.
Trinsic and Trev are friends.
Yeah.
And Trinsic is a mod in Trev's chat. So there's good reason to associate them with each other because they've known each other for a very long time. But they are in fact distinct people.
Andrew, I have a question for you. I think I might know the answer to this already, but I was going to ask what game you might be looking most forward to being released this year, and I think it might be the one coming out this weekend.
Yes, it is. So I've been waiting for them to finally release some sort of Final Fantasy VII remake. And the wife is texting me. I'll look at that later. So I
sure
wish.
Go get it now.
Well, no, I just double checked that it didn't need to be seen right now. It's ideas for our garden. So I
like that too.
Yeah. Back to the topic at hand for now.
Or like an actual garden?
No, like an actual garden. Okay, so we're gonna derail the train. So we have some chicks that are growing and incubating at my parents' house right now. We got them 3 chickens and we got 6 chickens. So they're incubating and growing a bit there. And so we are going to have a coop with our 6, and we're going to work out our garden a bit to have some herbs, and we're going to plant like blueberries and strawberries and other things similar to that would be lower bushes in our garden area.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, plus, with this whole coronavirus thing, we'll have eggs for days, no matter what.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about
For-
the rationing they're doing at the grocery stores.
Exactly.
For what it's worth, if anybody's ever in the audience here who's ever a guest on this podcast, we welcome derailing
Yeah.
the topic for literally anything you want.
Even if it's about Wendy's.
Even if it's about Wendy's, which we had like a tangent on, which was no shorter than 5 minutes one time. Just talking about Wendy's.
Oh,
What
the game
can
I'm
you
very
talk
excited
about
for is the
For
Tales
5
game.
minutes about Wendy's.
Oh, yeah, Tales of Arise. I'm also very excited.
So Andrew, you said you're really excited for Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yes.
What's your history in terms of Final Fantasy VII? Were you on? Did you play it on the PC back in the day, or on the PS1, or what did you play it on?
So it's the first game that I actually played on the PS1. Was Final Fantasy VII, and I played it at a friend's house, and I mistakenly thought it was Final Fantasy VIII. So when I asked for something for Christmas, I asked my parents for a PS1 and Final Fantasy VIII, because that was the one that had just come out. So I got 8 instead of 7. It took me years and years after that to get 7, but I always was looking for a copy that was cheap because at the time I was 10, 11, I think. So I was always looking for Final Fantasy VII because that one time playing at my friend's house, it just had an impact on me because it was so unique with the materia system. And so I just wanted to get that game and get back into it. And the second I found it, like, I don't want to say it replaced Final Fantasy Tactics, but it definitely took over for a while.
Okay, so for me, so me not having really any kind of Final Fantasy background at all, like I have never played a single Final Fantasy game. So like me being like an outsider of the franchise, like what about it is like what draws you to those like types of games? For like personally.
For me, I would say it's the potential to be all powerful in some sort of universe. And that's partly because the way that I play those story-based Final Fantasies is very much a JRPG staple of getting yourself as powerful as possible as early as possible, to really coast through the mid and the end game.
What's interesting that like I feel like I've seen that from you in the other games that I've watched you play, because I think I've watched you play like Bloodborne, like God of War, like those are like the games I remember like most strongly that you have played. And I remember thinking like even early on in those games, like you are so like precise and like leveled up in some ways. And I remember just being like really impressed by like your gaming prowess and like thinking like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I
That's,
abuse
like,
a
your
lot of
general
games.
approach.
I abuse a lot of games because of my bringing up in that all powerful JRPG style level up as much as possible gameplay.
So as a follow up to that, like you mentioned, you played Skyrim. I'm curious. Like, do you also have the same approach when you play like a Western RPG like Skyrim? Like, do you get economy building early and get like working on your stealth archery or enchanting smithing loop early in Skyrim? Do you have the same approach?
Oh, the second I found out about the enchanting and smithing and alchemy too, if you meld all those in a loop, it was over for me. Like I would go insanely high level and get basically untouchable health and untouchable stamina, but magic, no, I don't use that. But I would level up crazy amounts with that. Just making sure that my archery skill, that's the one that always had to be at 100. No matter.
Well, I mean, magic is the opposite play style in Skyrim because it's delayed reward. Especially if you go down the like summoning route. Also V-Twin, I'm a huge fan of Skyrim as well. Actually, so is Andrew, of course, because we were just talking about it, and Trev is also a experienced Skyrim player. But I'm a huge fan of basically every Elder Scrolls thing ever. So
and to quickly answer Johnny's question
about Final Fantasy 15.
So it's really cool that Ignis was your first cosplay. I kind of want to cosplay Luna myself. So for me, in terms of it being a Final Fantasy game, I felt like it was very, very, very short. Now I know that like I want to say I beat it it probably would have been like 40 to 50 or maybe even 60 hours between those. But the thing is that it was mostly driving from place to place. I did a whole bunch of the side quests and everything as well.
But are we talking royal or are we talking like the base?
Probably, honestly, I would say just the base game for now, because the royal stuff did add things.
Yeah, it definitely added and made it like twice as long.
Unfortunately, though, that those were just like their own little character things, and they didn't even get to finish actually some of them, because there's supposed to be one for Aranea and Luna, and then they canceled them. For me, Final Fantasy 15, I loved it. I liked the combat because I like all sorts of different gameplay styles. I really liked the look of it. The world was insane. It was extremely big. It was very pretty. For me, the storyline fell short a bit nearing the end, especially the boss battle, because the final boss, I was expecting like a third big, really, really difficult phase, and it just ended after like the second phase, which hardly ever happens in my opinion in JRPGs. It's usually a third, like up to a third phase is usually how it goes.
If you played, what is the first one? Shadow of Mordor? I think that final boss was really
the first one is Shadow of Mordor. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like the boss battle honestly really disappointed me because it was way too easy for me. Honestly, like the last area to get from like the beginning of the last area to the final boss, those enemies were actually harder than the final boss, which is wild. But then the other thing though is that it was way too short. So if you actually go from the beginning of the game and take out all of the side stuff, because side stuff is great, you know? Like, say like The Witcher has so much side stuff, but The Witcher still has a really long, expansive storyline to begin with. So you could still get a good 40 hours probably, or 40 to 50 hours out of that game just by doing the storyline. And then, you know, get upwards of like 100 to 130 maybe with all of the side quests and the DLC. But if you went just from the very beginning of the game and just did what you needed to get through the entire game, it was extremely short for a Final Fantasy game and for a JRPG, to be quite honest. That's what disappointed me. It was just way, way, way too short. It was the same thing actually with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I loved the game. The dungeons needed a little work because they all felt really similar to each other. But I spent 80 hours on it because I did all the side quests and I had to go from place to place in order to warp there. But the storyline itself was extremely short.
Did you platinum it?
Do you mean Final Fantasy or do you mean Legend of Zelda?
Final Fantasy.
No, I didn't platinum that one. I probably could. I just haven't really thought about it. I have to re-download
I think Trev did, actually.
Yeah.
Trev, do I have that right?
It's like 100 gigabytes.
Oh,
it was very time-consuming.
It's extremely time-consuming.
Yeah, PlayStation 4 storage is a sad story. Well, I mean, less so, I guess, now, because the PlayStation 4s usually have more storage than, like, the launch ones, but...
But, like, it's sad because, like, you could say, like, yeah, I did spend 80 hours on it, but in terms of storyline, it was really, really short. So that was the thing that I didn't like about it. Other than that, though, it was a really good game. And yeah, Troy, Jesus, Mary, Trev is very right.
Who the hell is Troy?
Trev is very correct in saying that the DLCs did add a little bit more to it. I personally liked the Prompto one. I thought it was really interesting. I didn't play some of the other ones, though, because the Prompto one, I believe, was the first one that came out. So yes. That's the only one that I got to play.
It was
first.
Prompto, and then it was the big guy, and then after that,
Gladio, and then Ignis.
Yes.
I believe is how it was. I should play the other ones. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Which probably the DLCs are probably pretty.
Well,
cheap.
It added DLC and it also added a couple of fights. Because like in the last part, it was like a lot of those fights you see that are like played out in cutscenes, you actually have to do.
Yes.
And I thought that was more challenging than the actual final boss.
But for a Final Fantasy game, I mean, I don't know if Andrew Final Fantasy 15. Did you, Andrew?
Yeah, I played it. I got the plat, and I gotta say, like, because I do side stuff and I level up like crazy, it didn't seem time consuming to me. It did seem like it was definitely a shorter Final Fantasy.
In
all
terms of the
things considered.
storyline, like if you thought about it, like taking out all the side stuff and like not having to drive around everywhere, like what do you think of how long the storyline was?
If you took out the driving, that would be the shortest Final Fantasy, I think.
That was
since
literally half the game.
The original one on the NES.
It was so short, so that's what I was disappointed. And then
can we talk about how
the final
bad
boss was way
chapter
too-
14 was? Or I think it was chapter 14 where he's like all alone and like he has it's that entire section when Noctis is all alone in like that robot factory. I hated that chapter.
Oh my god! I had no idea that part was coming, and I was playing it at night, and it felt like a horror game. I was like, this sucks. Like most people probably got through it in an hour, and it took me 6 or 7 hours to get through because I kept screaming and dying.
That part was stressful. It was like I was like constantly like on edge.
I was like, oh great, I didn't think I was playing a horror game tonight. I thought I was playing Final Fantasy. Oh
Andrew,
my god.
Andrew, did you play
Final
the
Fantasy
demo?
15, bye.
Did you play the demo for the Final Fantasy VII Remake?
No, I was actually debating if I have it downloaded. I was debating if I want to play that tonight, after a while, or if I want to just have it completely new. Because I've already pre-ordered the remake. I was going to do that the second I heard it was coming out. So it's just figuring out, okay, do I want everything to be brand new, fresh, or do I want some sort of idea what I'm getting myself into?
That's interesting because I think we were just talking about that last week about demos in general.
We were exactly.
Yeah, like do you play demos? Like I don't know, like generally, like what do you do for demos? Do you like to play them? Do you avoid them?
I'd say for demos, usually I just watch them. Like I will watch someone play 10, 15 minutes of a demo, and then I'll decide, does it look like something I could figure out how to like, or I would instantly like, or does it look like something that wouldn't be my cup of tea?
And did you watch a demo for the remake coming out?
Did you watch Ash?
I did watch Ash play a bit of it. I didn't watch a ton of it, but I did watch a bit, and from what I saw, it's definitely something that I will enjoy. But the combat is going to take a little bit of getting used to, I think, from what I saw.
That's honestly why that's why I liked playing the demo for it, because I heard that there was I need to play it again, I feel like, because I think you can do a classic mode of it where it's not moving around like hack and slash. So I'd like to try that just to see how it feels, like going from the original Final Fantasy VII. But yeah, like I wanted to know what it was going to be like to do the spells and everything in the hack and slash mode. That's why I played it. Plus, it was really pretty. It was so pretty.
It is a beautiful game.
It looks like they expanded on the combat system of 15, the free flow combat, and then made it better.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was neat. If you did want to play it, it is real short. I beat it in probably within like 20 to 30, maybe not 20, maybe 30 to 40 minutes. So if anything, I'd say if it's going to be coming to you soon, I don't know if you ordered it like at a store or
I just do digital.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to do it digital.
Oh, okay.
I need
Honestly,
Steelbook, so I have to do it physical.
Yeah, I gotta wait for mine, unfortunately, because GameStop. Yeah.
Well, no, I gotta like risk my life to go out and like pick it up somewhere.
Andrew, is that how you just in general order games, or is this like a coronavirus thing, or like?
I would say in general, a lot of my stuff is digital because and this might sound bad, it might sound pragmatic. With a 7-year-old, discs can get lost, they can get scratched or broken, but digital you'll always be able, hopefully always be able to download it again.
Honestly, I would say maybe just wait. It comes out in like 2 days.
Yeah, and that was
because when
that
I
was my dilemma now.
Yeah, because when the demo came out, it was right when it came out. That's when I played it. So that was a little while ago. So that's why I did that. But if you only got a few days, you might as well just wait and play the actual like full game.
The thing for me that I think about is like back when the BioShock 1 demo was released, I played it because obviously we didn't know what BioShock was before it came out. I mean, some of us had played maybe System Shock, but like we had no real sense of what it was going to be. And that got me into the series. But now, when the new BioShock comes out, if there's a demo, I won't touch it. Because for that, I'll want to go in. You know what I mean? I'm already into the series at this point. I'm already buying the thing. You know.
See, like for me, like say like for Final Fantasy, I played that because I did want to see what it was going to be like because it's different. When the Yakuza 6 demo came out, I didn't touch it because I knew that I wanted to play the game and not. I wanted to experience it like fully. And I know like Melly, I think we talked about it that like if a Last of Us Part 2 demo came out, she wouldn't play that either because she just wants to wait until the actual game comes out.
Yeah, I absolutely 100% know I'm going to get the game. So there's no point in me playing a demo of it.
I think that's a really good point. When you know 100% you're going to get a game, sometimes I don't feel like there's a big point in getting a demo versus like, I'm not sure about this game yet. I'm not sure about the gameplay or the style or whatever. Like maybe I'll play the demo and figure it out.
Actually, I mean, we don't know if TLU is coming. TLU 2 is coming at this point.
It was postponed indefinitely along with Iron Man VR.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah.
Not to get your hopes up, I guess Naughty Dog has been trying to find ways that they might. I've only heard this is like a rumor that they might release it early for digital, but I would take it with a grain of salt.
Well, I just heard that anyone who ordered it digitally was getting refunded.
Because that's what I heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyone who ordered that or Iron Man VR are getting refunded.
Oh, because of like the specific date.
Yes, because they got pushed back indefinitely.
They didn't even. It's not even a specific postpone. It's postpone indefinitely.
Yeah, until they. Can
which is wild.
Yeah. It's Trev who actually controls the Streamers Become Human like Twitch account. Like he runs the podcast in terms of like the stuff under the hood that you don't see, like the magic engine that keeps the thing going. Trev and Photoshop.
Yes, Photoshop, After Effects, and Premiere.
Yeah,
all that were required legally.
Yeah, I mean I understand why they postponed it, even though I'm personally disappointed about it. But it is potential to be $1 billion property for them. So
I imagine they have so much like bank just sitting there when it drops that like.
Yeah, it sounded like it was not a Naughty Dog decision. It sounds like it was a Sony decision.
I think so yeah.
Because it's obviously I know it's probably really frustrating that they crunched so much to get it ready for May, and now it's like it's done, but it's just going to be sitting there for a while.
Yeah, because they said that it's like all they're really looking at now are just small, like not small things, but like things that they're like glossing over it now, like to make sure that it's all like good and everything.
Which is generally I'm for, like, obviously these circumstances are bad circumstances, but as a general rule I'm for game delays. Like when Cyberpunk got delayed.
Yes.
The first time at least, who knows if there'll be another time, but when it got delayed the first time, I was very for it because, more polish on the game. I'll wait.
It's funny though, because it's kind of like the movie delays that we're getting now. Like, some things are coming out digitally. Like, we're getting Final Fantasy, we got Resident Evil remake, like they're not, some of these properties are going to be released. Like in movies, like we have, like Onward was released like through Pixar, but like things like huge properties like Fast and Furious, the Black Widow movie.
Yep.
Mulan, I think Venom is still set for October.
The $1 billion movies are getting postponed because they know that the maximized profit will be from a global release, not from
digital. Exactly.
That's actually exactly because I think with Onward, like. It had already been out for a little while, and so we might as well just put it on Disney Plus and make it easy. But they are not going to do that with Mulan because tons of people are going to go see Mulan, and they would lose so much money from the box office for that.
And I think too, like we, obviously with everything being kind of uncertain, like we don't know. A lot of people don't know their financial situation in a month and a half, and so it might not be a great time for people to buy games anyway. So. Yeah,
or going to the movies too.
I get it, and I think I want this game to succeed and do well financially. Because that means like if the game succeeds, we all succeed, kind of thing. So I'm okay with it.
Because I figured that game's probably slated for Game of the Year 2020. I mean, the last one was Game of the Year.
It'll be one of the contenders for sure, presuming it's anywhere close to it.
And the other thing too, it's like, I mean, am I mistaken, but it's supposed to be a multi-disc game. So for like a...
I heard that too, actually.
Yeah, so for that to not be released physical,
multi-disc
I
game.
think
What is
it-
this, like 1990?
Like Red Dead-
where it
well,
was
like Red Dead Redemption 2, like
end
that
of
was
disc
a massive.
1, insert disc 2, and then
Yeah.
end of disc 2.
Yeah, it
and
was
disc
actually,
1.
I think too many people are working from home, have Zoom calls going on. Like it's just gonna be a disaster trying to only
Yeah,
do it digital right
There's
now.
actually a joke about multi-disc in Metal Gear Solid 4, because in Metal Gear Solid 1 you get to a certain fight and you have to like insert a second disc, and then they're like, "Hey, insert disc 2," and they're like, "Just kidding." It's Kojima. He's got a straight sense of humor. They
but yeah, like that definitely they'd need to do that physically. Absolutely.
I also ordered my collector's edition, and I want my collector's edition
Exactly,
Yeah.
right?
as it comes.
But you
so,
ordered the physical one, so you should be fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
What
So,
I'm saying is that, like, if they did an early release on digital, am I going to be getting
that
it
would be
digitally? Yeah, like I want to. I don't know.
Speaking
and I know a lot of
of
people about it.
multi-discs, we all know Final Fantasy VII is not going to be on the one because they're doing it episodically.
Mhm.
And as somebody who's
Actually-
not played, what should I expect from disc 1, Andrew? Since
Oh.
you're a
Andrew.
huge fan. And
So yeah, part 1. I'll call it part 1 because disc 1, disc 2, disc 3. That was the old one. Part 1. My understanding is that it's going to be roughly half of disc 1. Now that's not necessarily saying a lot because the first half of disc 1 is very densely packed in one area, so they didn't need a lot of data for that one area. So then the rest of disc 1, all of disc 2, and realistically disc 3, I could see that being a part 2 or loosely split into a part 2 and a part 3 depending on what side stuff is still included. But definitely you're not going to get to some of the big plot points with part 1 of this remake.
So Andrew, I actually had a pretty good question because we've asked so many people about this, and as a Final Fantasy fan, and especially a Final Fantasy VII fan, what do you actually think about it being episodic, like multi-releases?
Yeah, I was curious about that too.
Okay, so in a perfect world, absolutely fine with it. I would love it because it won't let you take everything and just absorb it instantly. You'll have to keep coming back to it, and it will lengthen your enjoyment of the experience. That being said, I don't think they're going to do it right because I think they're going to take too long between the episodes. I don't think there is enough, from what I've seen and what I've read.
Take too long.
There's not right. There's not enough done on the back end, or likely not enough done on the back end for them to have a good pacing of these episodes.
Whoops.
You are
Yes.
you are in the right place.
We're also talking Final Fantasy VII.
You actually had
Came
a
in the right
question for you earlier, Ash. They wanted to know where you got that shirt for Andrew. I don't know who. I just referenced they because I can't remember who it was who asked.
I think it was Johnny.
That might be right.
Amazon.
Amazon.
There you go.
All right, so Johnny, all I gotta do is just search banana shirt in Amazon and try to
Yep.
visually find that same one.
I'll do
But I
some research quick and see if I can find the exact one.
I completely know what you mean, though, Andrew, about the about that you don't think they'll do it right, that they'll take way too much time in between the releases.
I felt that
I'm
way
actually-
about 3 for Kingdom Hearts. I felt like they
Yeah,
took
I was
too long.
actually. Yeah, I was actually just telling Rory because he just started playing The Wolf Among Us for the first time, and he's never played it before, so he doesn't know like
Yeah.
anything.
I don't know
that happens
like
in
the
it.
first thing about the game.
I hear
Yeah.
nothing but good things about that game.
I love The Wolf Among Us. I'm iffy about some of the other like Telltale games. Like they're all right. I mean, I have quite a few of them, but for me, I think even The Walking Dead was fine. Wolf Among Us was my personal favorite one, and that's why I'm super happy about there being a sequel. But he finished the first episode, and what they usually do for those, I'm sure there's been quite a few people in here that have probably played at least one Telltale game, and you know that all of them are episodic. And what they always do at the end of each episode, like when you're done playing it, is they'll show a preview of the next episode. Now, we don't have to worry about it because the game is fully out on disc, so I have all of the episodes for Wolf Among Us in particular. What sucks about, because like Rory was like, oh, so this is kind of what's going to happen on the next game, and I'm like, or the next episode, I'm like, not really, because quite a few of the things that they showed, like for example, like at the end of episode 1 that's supposed to be in episode 2 didn't happen. They didn't have almost any of the things, or they happened differently, like they were in a different spot or with a different character. And that's what I really got kind of annoyed with episodic games, because for one thing, they would have like a calendar of when their game, like when their episodes are supposed to come out, because there's the same thing with King's Quest, and I loved King's Quest. But I can remember sitting and thinking like, okay, so the next episode is supposed to come out August, like, I don't know, 2017 or whatever. And then the next episode wouldn't come out until like June of 2018. And so they take so long to get made that there would be things that we would be like, okay, I thought this was supposed to happen in the next episode, and then they don't. And unfortunately, like when it comes to things getting put out so much later, like I can remember, this is off topic because it's not a video game, but Attack on Titan. I can remember when Attack on Titan came out, people were going nuts over it. Like, I mean, I did a cosplay for it. Tons of people were doing cosplays and fan art and going absolutely nuts over this anime. And then they're like, okay, so next season is going to be out next spring. We're like, okay, cool. Didn't come out. Didn't hear anything about it. And they're like, okay, it's coming out in the fall. Didn't come out in the fall. Like, okay, it's coming out next summer. Didn't come out in the summer.
And
then
like
I can
every
remember
game release currently.
So I can remember being at a convention, and I went to the con for that day. We got back to our hotel, and it was a Saturday night, so we turned on Toonami, which most those of you who are anime fans in here know that's their anime block every Saturday. And Attack on Titan was on, and I was like, oh, cool, they put Attack on Titan on Toonami. And I was like, I don't remember this. What is this? Like, I don't remember this happening. And I looked at it and said episode 2, and I'm like, episode 2? This isn't episode 2. And I was like, oh my god, this is season 2. And that's how much people had fell off of Attack on Titan, because nobody even know that they put out Attack on Titan season 2, let alone that it was already on Toonami and dubbed. And because of that, like ever notice, like for those of you who like are into anime, that Attack on Titan was super big, like at conventions and stuff. Like I would see lines of people in Attack on Titan cosplay, and then I saw none. Like so many people fell off of it, and that's what I'm really scared of. I mean, I don't think it'll happen with, like, say, Final Fantasy, because people are gonna play Final Fantasy anyways. But you can really fall off stuff, and that's the issue that I have with like the episodic stuff. And I wish that they would just stop with episodic stuff. Like television, whatever, they've done that for a long time, but I'm sick of it with video games, to be quite honest. But I like your take on it though, also, by saying that way you're not like absorbing everything in one go. But if they would just be a little bit more diligent with how they put out their episodes, then I'd be okay with it.
Sure.
Yeah, if they keep up the pace, they could do really good things with episodic. And another thing that's nice to kind of touch off what you were saying about the Wolf Among Us series, how things change between the snapshot of the second one on the first game and the actual second game itself. That's not going to be possible with this, or not to the same extent, because there's already that story in place. So it'll be nice.
Right, yeah,
you know what you're getting yourself in for. It's more of a matter of when you get that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they had to create the story as they go for like Final Fantasy. It's like it's all there, and they can add certain things like side quest or whatever.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. That was the issue that I had with the Telltale games, because they would completely turn things on its back. Like, okay, we were gonna do this storyline, and now we're not even gonna.
This is like,
if they did that with Final Fantasy, people would freak out.
Season 8 of Game of Thrones all over again.
Oh, good God.
Did we answer this question from Ash? Andrew, what was the game that was?
I did not, and I was waiting until we had a lull in the conversation, because that's something that I feel like it would be easier to speak about than to type out.
So the question was,
go for it. Floor is yours.
Yes.
Yeah, so let me go back to the first one. Andrew, which, first of all, who's Andrew?
Andrew.
There's that grammar police coming out. What was a game that was a turning point of your gaming career where your style changed or realized you liked a specific genre? You were typing fast. Okay,
To be fair, I
so
call him Andre every so often.
yes, it's more often than you should. When I started playing games, it was a very eclectic mix of games that I started with. And probably the first time my genre was defined, I'll say, because I didn't have a genre before this. I didn't have something I stuck to before this, was when I started playing my favorite game, Final Fantasy Tactics. And that really locked me into Final Fantasy as a whole at the time, but also specifically to that game, to a tactical, turn-based and tile set oriented strategy game. So that was the first time my genre was defined. RTS, yes, exactly. But then from there, I went eclectic again. I started playing everything under the sun after that, and I don't know that there's been another genre defining or genre changing moment for me, because it's been a little bit of everything since 12, 13 years old.
Oh, kind of bouncing off of that. So you mentioned earlier that you started off like with console gaming. How did you get into PC gaming? Like, what was that transition? How did that happen for you?
So when I went to college, my best friends from my first year of college lived the floor below me, and there was no one cool on my floor besides me, so I just went down and hung out with them.
Of course.
But I was down there all the time, and one of the guys who was actually my twin in the fraternity I was in, he was a computer science major and was working on building his own PC that first year, and that really got me into looking at how can you game on PC and what can you do. And at the time, the laptops they gave us, being part of the architecture program, were actually strong enough to play Oblivion at the time. So I picked up Oblivion, and then from there I went back to Morrowind, and I played both of those on the school-provided laptop, which was nice and not nice at the same time. It had a tendency to overheat if I had it on my lap. But from there, then he actually helped me a couple years later build my first PC at college, and from there I just kept on picking up parts, picking up knowledge, and picking up games. And as everyone that PC games knows, once you start, you have 600 games in your Steam library now.
Yep.
So, computer
quite
scientist
that many,
saves
but
the
yeah.
day with Oblivion. This is the story I'm familiar with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just saw Rory smiling ear to ear.
Yeah.
His interest peaked drastically. He was like,
that sounds about right. The
To pique your interest more, actually, that same laptop, the third year of college, I got Elder Scrolls Arena running on.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Using
So
DOSBox.
I went way back. Yep.
Yeah. DOSBox was like back before like GOG had like that integrated with their games. These days you can just go on GOG and get an EXE and it has DOSBox. We would actually use DOSBox manually. So for those of you who don't know, it's a DOS emulator. And it was great for running, like, for me, less so Arena, more so Daggerfall. But yeah, those that was like, because those games are free. Like Bethesda made them free online.
Which was a great move.
I agree. Yeah, I'm waiting for the day Morrowind is free someday in the long distant future, and everyone can play modded Morrowind. Like our friend Tiff played Morrowind recently, and really, I think. Found a new love for that style of writing. I actually Ice Dragon, like, it's something I know the answer to, of course, for you, but Ice Dragon asks about your college experience and what your major was in college, if you wouldn't mind sharing. Or...
and then a follow-up to that would be, did that help you as a streamer?
Okay, so I can answer the follow-up in one word. No. So I went to college initially just for architecture, and I went there with the intent to become an architect. Well, after a semester there, I saw that they had a a civil engineering and architecture dual degree program that actually fit more with what I was starting to like about design, about structures. So I ended up being there for 5 years, and I got a bachelor. Technically, it's a Bachelor of Science in Architecture, so it's not something that would allow me to go directly to an architect's license, or towards getting one. But I also got a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. So both of those degrees now are hanging on the wall, and I would say I use some of the knowledge that I got there at work, but for the most part, a lot of it is not being used right now, and it's definitely not helping with streaming.
It's also hybrid.
What if you decided to do like Polybridge or like a game that was heavily focused with engineering? Like I know you used to play Arcs, like building something that didn't help with like having an
Andrew's like, I have an advantage in Arc.
Architecture or something, like you're like, oh, I can make this pylon like this, and then it'll...
I mean,
my Minecraft, you know.
I can make stuff look pretty, and I enjoy making stuff look pretty. But it's not like I picked up any tricks for that really, that can be used in game. That's, I guess, more of what I learned is along the lines of a technical design, or the actual calculations for how much stress is in a beam, or how much weight a bridge can hold. Which Polybridge, I guess, kind of gets close, but it does the calculations for you, and you just kind of draw lines and it's done. So it's along the lines of what I learned, but it doesn't help to have learned what I learned for something like that.
Sure, yeah.
And Ice Dragon, do I regret spending the money on the experience? I don't think I regret it. I feel like I could have gotten to where I'm at without spending it, but it's not a regret.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's actually a lot of people I talk to about school. That's how they feel. Is like, in hindsight, I could have optimized the path better, but I learned X, Y, and Z along the way that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten. Like, well, it's particularly depending on how much money it like, because of course it varies a lot. People's college experiences can be pretty colored by the region of the world they went to college in and how much it actually costs.
Yes.
Yeah.
People where I'm from, like, I feel like tend to regret it less because college is really cheap where I'm from. So like they were like, oh, I worked a summer and then paid for a year of college, and like, you know, it's like a lot less of an investment than it can be in like very expensive places.
And let's not forget, it's
My
the
goodness,
destination, it's the journey, not the destination.
Banana Junior.
Baby banana.
That's a great point by Ice Dragon, actually. Who wait, hold on, I'm gonna wait for Andrew to put his headphones back so he can hear that we're speaking. Ice Dragon, I thought, had brought up a great point actually there.
Hey, give me like 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, far away.
No
Yeah.
worries.
I actually wanted to ask him about fraternity life.
The
I want to say I don't think he was in one, but I could be wrong.
He just
he
said
was.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he said his twin in a fraternity.
Trev
which
TLDR'd a verbal conversation.
Yo, I'm reading chat. Look, I don't know.
But no, I think Ice Dragon actually has a good point though, because based on Andrew's story, it sounds like he might have not have gotten a PC gaming if he hadn't met that hero, who helped him discover all those new things.
So like before he comes back, my middle school gave us all laptops, and like you could not game on those for shit. Like you could play maybe a Flash game, like in a web browser, but you would have to find a site that like wasn't blocked. But that's
One of my friends downloaded Super Meat Boy on one of those computers. It was hilarious. Like, he would do it on every single one too. Like when he'd have to put it back, he'd put it there. And then
our program was like they gave it to us and we took it home with us because it was supposed to be like I guess it was supposed to teach us like responsibility or some shit where like we'd run it home and like.
So instead of an egg,
Did it work? Did it
no,
work, Trev?
no, it didn't.
So AWAL is a science doctor. He's a science BSc or BS, depending upon what.
But I did do the egg one,
Bachelor of
too.
Science or Bachelor, like BSc or BS for Bachelor of Science, depends on the region you.
I hated doing the egg one. I'll be honest.
We never did the egg one.
Well, it was either use an egg or a sack of flour, and I was like, an egg is much more manageable than carrying around flour.
But yeah, like my friend, he would like he'd get a random computer and then leave for the next class. And then if we had a study hall that had laptops, he'd grab another one, then download Super Meat Boy, and I would just watch him.
Todd Howard used to download the same game on all the computers in the computer science lab, so he would always be able to play Ultima, I think it was back then.
Oh my god!
I'm surprised he didn't like make it a requirement. Like, all right, I need this to come pre-installed with Ultima. Like, wait, why?
Yeah,
like, don't worry about why. Just know that it needed to happen.
Yeah, you can play Minecraft in a classic in a web browser on just.
You can also play Quake 3 in a web browser because someone did a JavaScript implementation of Quake 3. So for all you Quake 3 fans out there, hi Rory, watching this in the future, you can play Quake 3 JavaScript in a browser.
I just remembered that I made that no bake thing, and it's in the fridge waiting, and now.
Ooh, that's exciting.
That's always really good, like, because like I'll have times where I like forget I bought ice cream or something, and then I'm like, oh shit, I have ice cream, and then I'm like, all right, now I have something to look forward to.
It's this cookies and cream thing that you just like, you have like the little package of it, and then you put milk in it, beat it all together, but I put whipped cream in it also to make it like more airy and bigger, and you just put down like, it's a cookie like cookie crumb basically with butter, and put it in the fridge and let it chill, and it's
very good actually. It also lasts us quite a few days as well, which is like we made a dessert the other day that we devoured like almost immediately.
Oh my god! So it was this like so what it actually was a filling for a pie, but my mom had made it before.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, and we just would eat it like that. We just have it like in a bowl when we would make it, and it was you use like vanilla ice cream, strawberry Jello mix, and strawberries, and you make like Jello like you would normally, but you spoon in the ice cream while it's still like while it's not set or anything, while it's still like hot liquid. So you spoon in the ice cream, you whisk it all together, let it sit in the fridge for a little while. And then, like for like maybe 20 minutes, take it out, put the strawberries in, and mix them together so they don't all sink to the bottom, and then chill it for a few hours. And it's like this, it's kind of like a mousse almost, I guess, but not really.
Yeah, I've seen
like
a lot of like videos on like no bake stuff, and like I think that's a more
like
recent trend for.
Yeah, it's a parfait actually.
Yeah, it's the closest thing as a parfait. Yeah. I agree. Yeah,
and it's so good.
It's very good. Ice Dragon has a good question about whether we pay for like sort of business quality internet. For myself, I pay for gigabit, which should be very, very good. But,
unless there's a random illegal party going on outside your house.
My ISP has been maybe not my favorite. I don't know if anyone really loves their ISP, but my relationship with mine hasn't been very positive. And so my internet should be incredible when it works, but the reliability of that working isn't
he's in
isn't
Canada,
great.
so he doesn't really have.
Yeah, I'm Canadian, so yeah,
Yeah,
we have different.
He won't recognize.
Yeah, you get two choices. And in my apartment building, you get one choice.
Yeah.
Which is not a choice at all, in my opinion. But there you go.
Yeah, calling it a choice would be short of a lie.
When I finish, like in a year, when I move out of my apartment and I'm no longer doing like full-time PhD work, I'm going to be not in the current situation I am with my internet. I'm going to pay for gigabit from an actual reliable internet service provider.
And we have pretty good internet in my house, but the other thing is that like we don't have it's not the best, but it's pretty good. But the other thing is that I live in a house where my brother watches The Office all the time, and my mom is watching.
Yeah, depending on how many different people are on it, it could like
doing something on her.
I feel like, especially now with everybody being home all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have the mid-tier one, so I don't have like Gamer God internet, but I also don't have the cheap one either. It's like the mid-tier. Like
I think mine is like pretty basic.
400 megabits download.
We have a smart panel in our house, like it's a smart home panel or whatever. So I guess that makes it better. So then we run it through that, and then I have it wired, and so that's automatically better than.
Wired is a huge thing, and definitely Ice Dragon. Pay attention to up speeds for us. Like I get at home about. I want to say it's something to the tune of 36 up and about between 350 and 400 down on like a average sort of day. But again, that's when it decides to work.
Welcome back, Andrew.
Welcome
Thank you.
back.
So my son was playing a mobile game and saw an ad come up for save 90% on this pack. And so we had to have the stop in the chat about, is it worth it? Are you going to play this game for a while? Or
Was he playing Raid Shadow Legends?
No. No. Hashtag not sponsored. No, I don't even know what game it was. It's something he got recently. But yeah, I had to have the talk with him that they will always try and tell you it's a super good deal because they're just trying to get you to spend money. And so we had that chat, and then
Oh, I complained about my
have a
internet.
I actually have a question. I got a question for you, Andrew, based on that.
Mhm.
So what's it been like having a kid and like passing on your love of gaming to him, like just watching him get into games? Like how's that been for you as a dad?
it's good and bad. I enjoy playing games with him. I enjoy seeing him enjoy himself, and now he's got some friends that he plays games with that he knows through school or through his after school program at church. So he it's definitely a good thing. I'm seeing him rely a little too much on screens, or I guess addicted isn't the right word, but there's definitely that love of screen time that's a little concerning, but not the end of the world type of situation.
If you don't
Has
mind me asking,
COVID, oh, good.
oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just like asking really quickly. Has like the whole COVID thing changed the screen time issue at all? Like, has that kind of been?
Yeah. Yep.
Sorry,
So
COVID.
sorry to cut you off, but yeah, it's been a big change. We used to do an hour of screen time total for a day on the weekdays, and a little bit more on the weekends, just to make sure he's still getting outside and playing. I would say now, because he's doing distance learning through school, and he's home so much, we don't limit it per se, but it's definitely more in the 4 to 6 hour range total for everything.
If you don't mind me asking, is it a tablet or like Switch or
What?
mobile? I'm sure it'd
What?
probably be a tablet.
It's
For, like,
actually
screen time.
for screen time overall. It's everything. So it's his. My wife and I got new phones recently, so he has one of our phones locked to Wi-Fi only for games and FaceTime.
Mhm.
So he has that, and then there's also the Switch. There's a few games I let him play on the computer. Time on the Wii that we have in the basement, the PlayStations that we have. All that together is what we consider as screen time. Sometimes we include watching TV shows in that. Sometimes we just let them, watch a little bit extra over that screen time too.
So, what would be your opinion on like taking it to school? Would that be a no for you? Like,
At this age, yeah, that would be a hard no. His school, they all have Chromebooks that they do a little bit of computer learning on every day. But anything else, yes, it would be a hard no until realistically middle school at the very earliest, but probably high school.
because like working in a school, I know like I've seen kids how I've seen a few of them where they'll have a tablet and they'll be playing it like on the bus, and then they'll come into school with their like face into Minecraft. And I feel like all they can really think about at that point is just getting into their locker to like during playtime or something. I'm usually like, no, you're not going to go get your tablet.
Oh, yeah.
They usually have one-track minds for like.
Yeah, I feel like it's best to just leave it at home because I feel like that's all they probably think about is like, I can't wait to. I mean, because I'm sure that any kid that like isn't allowed to take their tablets to school would probably think I can't wait to get home to play on the Switch or on my tablet or whatever. But I feel like it's even worse when it's in their locker waiting for them.
Oh yeah, there's a difference between it being 30 feet away and it being a couple miles and hours away.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? This is just like purely out of curiosity from my own experience. Like when I was a kid, like I watched movies and I had like maybe one or two games that I was really playing that like I sunk a lot of hours into that I just play like over and over again. But I was more into like movies. Do kids still watch movies a lot? Like, is that like as much of a thing now in your own experience? I guess, for your kids.
I would say yeah. Maybe not as much because I went to a lot of movies. I went to a lot of movie theaters with friends as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
And he's not to the age where I would do that yet, so it's hard for me to really compare with how I was when I was young. But he does watch a fair number of movies. And I know, what was the one he begged us to get? We went to Redbox, and it was between Bohemian Rhapsody, which didn't win, and
Interesting.
I imagine he'd be lost
Yeah.
during that, if I'm being completely honest.
Was he a big Queen fan?
a very big Queen fan. Queen is what he listens to go to bed most nights.
Wow,
Oh,
that's
wow.
really cool.
Yeah.
Good taste in music, you know?
Yeah, if it's not that, it's Michael Jackson. So he's got a couple of good choices there. But the other one, the one that he really wanted to get, and we actually bought the actual disc from Redbox, was some shark movie. Oh, The Meg.
Oh, I thought you were
Meg.
like
Oh,
Sharknado,
yeah.
and I was like, he should not be watching
No, not
Sharknado.
Oh, boy.
No, and those kind of movies he likes watching, both the scarier type The Meg movies, and he actually watched Bohemian Rhapsody 2, and not Rocket Man, but there was another biopic movie that he watched, and he really liked those ones too.
Was it
So-
recent or?
It was in the past couple years. I just don't remember.
Was it the John
exactly
Lennon
when it was.
one?
Like not La Bamba.
Not
But
La
not the
Bamba,
John
no.
Lennon one. That wasn't a biopic. That
No.
was just a guy who played John Lennon songs and wasn't John Lennon.
Yeah, I remember that movie because I
It's
remember
just
like, that
occurring
was
to me
so
now.
weird. And
Trailer.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it now. But
Certainly not the
it's
Patsy
not just the sorry?
Certainly not the Patsy Cline one.
No.
No.
But no, it's not just the kid movies even that he wants to watch. It's the more adult movies, the scarier ones. The
I was that
more
way, too.
Deep movies.
Yeah. No, I was definitely like I like my childhood movies weren't generally like I watched I remember Evil Dead 2, Minority Report, LA Confidential, I generally I was kind of the same way where I just watched kind of whatever looked interesting. Also known as whatever was on my cousin's DVD shelf.
I remember watching the Fast and Furious movies when I was growing up, and I was like, whoever let me watch
Yeah.
these shouldn't have
I
let me
watched
watch these.
The
And Disney.
oh yeah. Ice Dragon had this question from earlier, Andrew, right before you
Okay.
right before you took off, which was what do you think you would have gotten into PC gaming through some other avenue had it not been for that college friend of yours?
Realistically, I would have gotten into computer gaming at some point, but it probably would have been starting within the past couple of years instead of starting 10 years ago.
Sure,
As far as
okay.
streaming, it's hard to say because since you can do that now and you could a couple of years back just on your PS4 or your Xbox, I've always kept up with PlayStations. So I'm not sure that I would have, but the possibility still would have been there.
Hey, Eric,
Eric!
how are you?
Eric! You were
It's
a
good to see
banana.
you.
Yes, I do,
How
Eric.
was how was Prey?
Trev. All right,
Gotta
nerds,
go
have
to
a nice
bed.
night. It was great listening in. Roy and Zippy, I'll see you tomorrow. Can't wait, Tater. It's gonna be a good time.
Night.
Ice Dragon's got another question. As streamers and gamers, do you feel the need to possibly put in a firewall device with quality of service to make sure your stream and game gets priority over things like entertainment stuff others in the house are doing? Well, in my particular case, the only other person who lives in my apartment is my roommate, so I'm it's easy in that case. I don't have to worry about sharing bandwidth with too many different people.
Do you want to go?
Let Lily in it? Yeah, of course.
I can hear my cat scratching at the door.
I only bring up Rory's name because he started that game on stream and never finished it.
Oh, there she is.
It's true.
And I saw that you tweeted that you loved it or awesome, and I was like, oh, so I screenshotted it and sent it. I was like, oh, I wouldn't know what that's like.
Oh my gosh.
What's happening? Oh.
Oh my goodness. What a cutie. It's baby
All right.
banana.
You.
So, reason for the baby
Oh
shower.
my goodness.
There's a big jar of snacks that we got, and I'm guessing my son knocked it over, but someone. So, My wife is helping clean that up. Got the baby for it. Yeah.
Look, she wants to be a streamer too.
Definitely.
Babies become
Sorry,
streamers.
Oh, hello. Alright. What's he doing?
Hey guys, does anyone have questions for the infant?
Do you know you're just the cutest baby ever? I think she does.
In the future.
Oh, hello. How you doing?
What is your favorite noise to make for the baby?
Lily,
Which
come
diapers
on,
are most
honey.
comfy and why?
Aww.
So Andrew, or not Andrew, Ice Dragon asked a question earlier about, hey, I'll just scroll up. They said,
Oh my god, it's the cutest thing.
or no, it wasn't Ice Dragon, I apologize, it was, Johnny. They said, in a time of so much technology and devices and apps available for people of all ages to connect and interact, do you guys feel that things now or possibly in the future that we are more disconnected, and you put that in quotes, than ever?
So I think for us it's kind of maybe a bias thing because we met and all became friends through like Twitch. I'm not sure what effect it has on people who the thing they do online or it like isn't social. You know what I mean? Or the thing they do with technology.
I think it's
isn't
situational because like we all met online and like became friends through games and stuff, but that's because we were playing multiplayer games. But if like people were playing stuff solo, like they were doing like Raid Shadow Legends or whatever. I don't actually know that game's solo only, but that's Andrew's kid. They're both Andrew's kids. Oh, he spelled something on his bag, obviously. But it depends what you do with the technology. Like, if you're one of those people who just use your tablet or devices to watch stuff on your own, or like you keep a lot of things to yourself, then it definitely disconnects you. But if like you're one of those people like going out of your way to play with other people online, then you can do stuff like what we did and like become friends, and then like maybe start your own podcast that won't be as good as this one, but you can try.
Start the competition.
I mean, that's good confidence.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like it's very situational. It's like depending on what
we're
you do
definitely, I
with
think we're
it.
biased to ask.
Yeah.
Whole family, a cluster of bananas.
A bunch of bananas.
Yeah.
Andrew, I don't know if you saw it, but Eric said tell him to do a Fortnite dance.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Oh wait, I think we're having trouble
Andrew,
hearing you.
Andrew, I
you've
think
stopped
you're-
speaking.
Yeah, I think you're a little too far away from the mic.
My bad. I forgot how tight I have this thing set. Oh. So
She's just testing
yeah.
the mic for you.
I didn't see that until now, but he knows how to do that, so I definitely would have had him do that if I saw that. His favorite is the one where you pump your arm and you kick your leg together, and he will do that
okay.
when he gets super excited playing anything.
I see kids doing that.
If he comes down, yeah.
What's he doing?
Miss Elizabeth, what's up?
Oh
I'm trying
my
to figure out
goodness.
what's going on.
Baby banana.
She's really attracted to the mic, which is a good sign. I mean,
We
someday,
didn't
Yeah.
realize we were having 2 extra special guests tonight, which is very
someday in the future, both of them are going to be a guest on this. Because we're going to keep this going until...
We're gonna ask her. She's gonna be on Streamers Become Human, and in a few years we'll be like, "Do you remember your first?"
Do you remember your
very
first
first
appearance back in 2020?
This is probably her first podcast appearance, I would
Yes.
imagine.
Like, how does it feel to
Definitely,
be on, like, what do you think of your first time on Streamers Become Human? What, this is my first time on Streamers Become
Like,
Human.
oh,
No,
au
it's not.
contraire. We had a couple of questions for the infant as well. Zippy asked what diapers does she find most comfortable and why, and then someone else asked what noises do they make. Like, what is your favorite noise to make?
We actually use cloth diapers right now, so they're all relatively comfortable. They're just kind of a pain. Oh yeah. They're just
Well,
kind
that
of
was
a
the
pain
answer on
in
what's the
her-
favorite noise to make.
Yes.
So that was one answer. Yeah.
Her favorite when she's hungry is a mama,
Oh.
but she'll make a few different noises just to talk. I think right now she's kind of getting tired though, which is why she's pretty quiet and focused.
Oh, she's so cute. She's so cute. I miss work. Ugh.
So guys, we're gonna be cluing up things now. First of all, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. We know you're very busy.
Yes.
Oh, I do want to
have
ask
your
one
hands
question.
full.
Yeah, far away.
Because we did at least ask. Melly actually already asked, because I always try to do this. Oh my gosh, yeah, the whole family of bananas is on today. I did want to, because Melly did already ask, what you like, because we already know what your favorite childhood game was, which you said was Final Fantasy Tactics. What's your favorite game that you're playing right now?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
I'd
When
have
you
to say
time.
probably Animal Crossing, just because that's what I have time for lately. I don't know. I don't know that I have a favorite or not a non-favorite right now. It's all just whatever I have time to play. I'll just pop something on somewhere wherever I am.
Yeah.
And
That's
Animal
pretty cool.
Crossing seems pretty conducive to like just play it when you can. Like you can pick it up
Yeah.
for 10 minutes or 30
You'd
minutes.
probably
Oh,
be pretty
exactly.
good at the building stuff too. Like design.
enjoy it, yeah.
Good night, Verdant. Verdant.
Yeah,
Bye.
Vernon, thanks for dropping by. It was good to see you. Yeah, it's been hugely interesting to see everybody embrace Animal Crossing.
I love
Morgan's taking over the world.
Yeah,
I'm honestly
I had
I'm
never
stunned.
played it before now.
Yeah, this will be when I get it. Like soon, it'll be my first. Yeah.
So
I
you're
played
brand new to it
one
as
on
well,
the-
Andrew.
Yep.
The Wii for like 2 minutes, like back in the day, but that's the only experience I've had with.
Trev looked at the main menu.
I'm honestly
yeah.
stunned at how quickly I've become low-key obsessed with this game. It's crazy. I haven't even had it a week.
it. Yeah, I love
That's
it.
how addictions start.
Oh, nice, Eric. They
I remember doing that.
Oh no! And then your
Oh,
sister.
Deleted my file.
She got
My
trolled.
brothers did that to ours.
really?
Yeah,
That's
I
like a
mean,
universal Animal Crossing sibling experience, I guess.
yeah, I mean, the thing that was pretty cool about Animal Crossing on the GameCube for us too was that it was me and my 3 older brothers, and there were 4 houses, so like 4 save files on the first Animal Crossing. So like we all like had our little houses next to each other, which was pretty fun. I bet Eric.
But we're actually going to. We're not revealing it yet, but we are actually going to have Andrew on in the future for something special that we're working on.
Yes.
So this won't be the last time you see him, I promise.
And he's
But if
obligated
I'm-
to come back on because he's been on before.
That's correct. He signed
Yep.
for the contract. But if I am actually lying, you can go watch Andrew yourself if you want to really ensure you're going to see him again on his own channel, which I would highly recommend. It's a very chill time over there. Go over there, relax. Hey, Kaiser, how are
Kaiser.
you? He sometimes plays music during streams, and he has good taste in music. So
Yeah,
Highly
they happen, every 7 to 56 days.
yeah,
Yes.
And thank you everyone in the chat for coming by and asking questions and just hanging out with us. We will be back next Wednesday with
Yes.
something of some sort. I don't know
Not
what
sure
or
what,
with
yeah.
who, but we will definitely be here at 7:30 Eastern sharp. We've still never been late in all our episodes.
Absolutely.
Look, as soon as Discord stops fucking with us, we will be on time.
Yep.
In the meantime, we're gonna raid someone very special. They go by Party Pineapple. After all, we've had AWALbanana, so now
Yes,
Party
we're
Pineapple.
continuing the fruit trend.
Then we're gonna work our way through all the citrus fruits. And
So if you guys want to get rated, change your name to be something like orange or like
exactly, And
No, I'm not sure.
or something.
Oh, we do.
these days, Party Pineapple, who's a member of our stream team, True Variety, which you should all check out. Ash or Spinachy is the founder, and we are all on the team as well as this podcast. And by we are all, I'm including Andrew in this case. And he's a member of our stream team, and he's usually playing Tarkov, and he's a very regular streamer. Like, he plays quite a lot of Tarkov. But today he's playing RimWorld, which is a favorite game of one of our favorite old people, Bleeze.
And that's the only reason I've been okay and on board with raiding, because if it was Tarkov, I'd be like, oh, we could raid somebody else.
And so, yeah, guys, streamers become raiders is our raid slogan. So feel free to say that and drop the kind of like Dark Souls emote, which may seem unfitting to you, but it's our only emote.
Yeah. We have another one, but I just haven't made it because I don't have any others.
Yeah, we have a theoretical emote in the works.
Yeah. So again, Andrew, thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully, you'll have more time to stream on your own channel in the future, and hopefully everything gets less busy for you.
We can only hope.
But thanks for stopping by, guys, and thank you so much, Andrew.
All right. So we're rating in 3, 2, 1.